Somehow deleted my countdown. Now I don't. Oh shit! I'm on. Damn it! All right.
Technical difficulties.
Roll intro now.
In the twilight hour, the gavel's down. Hear the tilted lawyer in velvet gown. Whispers of law beneath the moon's sweet glow. He's here to guide you through the undertow. From tales of love lost and battles won, to secrets that hide when the day is done. He'll paint the night with stories so stark. Welcome to family law after dark. Light up that cigar and pour a glass of red, as we wade through matters not often said, where hearts and minds often leave a mark. Dive deep into family law after dark. The lawyer's voice smooth like leather. He's singing lies only he can tether. In the sultry jazz lounge, let the wisdom flow. Feel the rhythm in the late night glow. Through custody tangles and alimony strife, he navigates the drama of everyday life. With a wry wink and a cheeky remark, let's unravel family law after dark. Light up that cigar and pour a glass of red, as we wade through matters not often said, where hearts and minds often leave a mark. Dive deep into family law after dark. Light up that cigar and pour a glass of red, as we wade through matters not often said, where hearts and minds often leave a mark. Dive deep into family law after dark.
Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Friday to you. This is Omar Serrato, the Tilted Lawyer Podcast. I'm joined by Brad, the IT guy, of legendary Schnitzel, Bruce from Oregon. I have a special guest, rock star, superstar, up-and-coming family law attorney, Priyanka, here in office. She has the unique, I don't know, she is the only person that's ever appeared on this show that's actually ever opposed me in trial. She's sitting right there.
Yeah.
Okay, who won?
We both did.
It was an out-of-court settlement. And then, of course, Jocelyn. At some point, Melissa's going to come back in. If you haven't noticed yet, on the bottom of your screen, there is a call-in number. It's 951-374-0315. If you want to chime in and you have a hot take on any of the topics of conversation this afternoon, then feel free to do so, and then do so at your own risk. If you say something stupid, I'm going to roast you. It's inevitable. So, how did it go, Priyanka? You and I were, she got so tired of my ass, man. It's like, why do you keep filing shit? It's like, I mean,
we'll just call you David Gingras.
Did you compel lunch?
I didn't compel lunch.
Should have.
I compelled a lot of things, but one of them wasn't lunch.
The funny thing is how that actually came about is that is now a part of Arizona's thing because of one particular case.
Yeah.
Where the guy was basically ghosted for 2 years and was like, I need something to happen in this case. So then they're like, yeah, go to effing lunch and we'll figure out the bill later. Like, and Jingers comes in, starts insulting everyone, filing motions, and when it's like, I'll let you do your thing over there.
There was a lot of litigation in their case, for sure. I think the difference in my filings is that mine had merits. Mine had merits. But, you know, that's another story for another day. I think we should get to our next hypothetical. This is a story of a guy that discovered his wife was having like a year-long affair after they had gotten married. And now shenanigans ensue. So let's see what this guy has to say. Before I do that, let me share my screen. And there we go. All right, so he starts off. I think I hate this woman. By the way, Priyanka, the premise for this show, these are the candid conversations that we have with our clients. Right before they want to file for a divorce, it's always like the who, what, where, and the why, and who's hurt, who did who, and who's cheating on who. And this is what we have to talk. Oftentimes, as family law attorneys, we have to be counselors first, and it's involuntary.
Yes.
It's just what it is. So this is this guy's story. He says, I was madly infatuated with her when we first met. I waited out her deployment and underway patiently because I figured she was the one, only for her to have cheated on me the entire time.
Yeah.
So she came home from her last military boat excursion, told her boat partner she wanted me instead, dropped him. So she made a decision. Fast forward 3 years, we get married, buy a house, adopt some animals, purchase a new vehicle. We do normal married people shit for like 2 months. Then I find a love note from the boat partner and I confront her. She lies for months and months while binge drinking like crazy. What does that mean?
Guilt.
She eventually...
She's in the military. Everyone drinks. Like, there's no...
Fair point. Good point.
They drink in a
It's a
binge.
lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
She's maintaining that lifestyle.
Like, the
after.
only time I've actually shotgunned beers was there because I needed something to do.
I think I need video evidence of Brad shotgunning beers.
I want to see
That would be-
that.
I need to see that
This
shit.
was 2008 when you could get the 30 racks of Coors Light for like $8.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Brad was underage in 2008. No? You naughty
Actually,
boy,
for
Brad.
He's just doing a cannonball run.
Totally. Okay, so confronts her. She lies for months, binge drinking. Okay, so she eventually sort of admits it 6 months later. How old are these people? They
I
haven't
don't
said.
think it says, yeah.
Sounds like 22.
I know, it sounds really young. So really picks up the drinking and I drag her drunk ass to the ER so she doesn't fucking die because she starts hallucinating. So she's probably like 0.34. Now she's sober. Great. Good for her. But I had to deal with the trauma of a 1 year long affair, being lied to about all of it and then gaslit for months only to get stuck with some washed up shell of a human I can't stand to look at. She loves me now for the first time, it seems. And I hate her. I gave her my authentic self years ago, and she abused and trampled that. Now I get her used up, trashed, and so grateful to me for saving her life. Like I'm a fucking therapist and I hate her. These are his words. I don't mean to curse, Mom. I can't have sex with her. I can hardly kiss her. We still fight all the time. Because she's mad, I can't get over everything that happened and all the shit I begrudgingly pulled her out of. She's like a mediocre roommate that leaves her nasty shit everywhere most days. And my effing God, I hate that I didn't find all this out before getting married and investing in a future with her. Could I give this guy full marks for descriptive writing? I mean, that was... Jeez. If he was the point... He could not have painted a better or worse picture of her than that. I mean, he basically just described Judy Garland.
He's ready for Reader's Digest.
Late 1940s, maybe? Jesus. Okay, so she ruined the part of me that was stable, and I have to go start over and be worse off financially for it all because she decided she was infatuated with some other person, and now I get the part of her that had to crash out and burn. All right, young man, you need to calm down. I need to know some things. I need to know how old these people are. I need to know how long they've been married. Because it makes a difference if they've been married for over 10 years, doesn't it, Priyanka?
Yes, it's a long-term marriage. Makes a lot of difference.
versus like say a year or two.
Oh yeah, and then they were possibly separated, even they were actually separated. So that also makes a lot of difference.
She was on a boat. Look, there's I don't
Doesn't
know
sound
what
like
your,
they've been married for very long.
No, it
It doesn't. It
Because
doesn't.
it's
2
just,
months,
you know,
I think.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
there's 2 months plus whatever time he's been mad.
No, he's furious.
Yeah,
That's what it tells me.
the amount of time it's been since.
It's not for very long.
Yeah,
Look, there's
he found this information out.
It says he's
Yeah.
been rehabbing her for a year long.
For a year, yeah.
Yeah.
I got to explain this right off the bat. Last week I got a
not
comment
weird,
like I like how Omar so confidently like thinks that he speaks for all men. Like I never said that shit. I'm just saying I very confidently talk about how I would react in a situation. I have no expectation that Bruce. The reason why I like having Bruce on the show and I have Dominic here and I have a Brad here is because I specifically don't speak for all men.
Yeah.
I have
do
a
speak
very
for all
unique.
moose,
He speaks all. Yeah, he speaks all moves.
With the antlers.
We'll do
His
that.
thing is moose. He has. I think he views antlers as like a phallus symbol, and he capitalizes on it in various degrees.
It's open to interpretation, Omar.
Is that
Yeah.
pretty accurate, Bruce?
It's art. Like all
It's
great
art.
art.
If Omar was left to his own devices on this show, everyone would be extremely black-pilled on dating anyone.
100%. That's true.
I tend to give like my raw opinions without apology, and so I like having everybody here to kind of balance me out. I need to be balanced out. And by the way, Bruce has a refractory period of 30 minutes,
Oh my gosh.
as was revealed last week.
Bringing that back.
As long as you don't grind on me while salsa dancing, I'll be fine.
There was this whole thing that came out. I was like, what would you do if like some guy started like grinding on your girl salsa dancing when you went to the restroom and you came back and saw that happen? My response was, I guess I'd probably grind on him and like assert my dominance like right away.
That's asserting.
That was your
That's asserting.
response.
Yeah, that's asserting dominance. Grinding
That
on
was your
him.
response.
I didn't know that grinding meant the opposite of what I meant. Like, I understand now what grinding means. I didn't back then. But what I meant was the opposite of never mind.
Besides the point at this point.
I'm just saying I would try to assert my. I'm not even saying I'd be successful. It'd just be my first instinct, you know?
That would be
What,
your
what if
first
they
instinct.
like that?
Yeah, what if he's into it?
Yeah.
Well,
You
now
never
you're in
know.
trouble and you got to
You
commit.
never know.
Yeah, you got to
Sometimes we
commit to
learn
the
new
bit.
things.
I just don't expect that he would because he's like trying to hit on girls, like my, namely the wife
In the scenario, yeah.
in that scenario. So I'd assume that he wasn't swinging that way. Maybe he's a not all encompassing. Maybe he's going both ways. You never know. Anyway, going back to this guy, I gotta say, I'm just gonna assume he strikes me as the kind of guy that's been married for less than 2 years. Is that fair?
Yes.
Can we decode that information? He strikes me as a guy that's probably younger than 25. And his wife is probably the same. Fresh out of the military. I don't know, man. They strike me as youngsters. Jordan Peterson, I don't know what your opinion of him is. But one of the things that he said with respect to adultery was, it sucks when you find out that your partner's cheating on you because it destroys 3 phases of your life. He says it destroys you in the present, insofar as what you thought your partner was to what they actually became. It destroys your past because who you thought they were actually never was. And in this guy's mind, way back when, she was like banging some dude on a military boat for months. And it destroys your future because who you thought that person was going to be in the future can never be because the foundation is off. You got the variables wrong. The formula changes. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that simplistic analysis, but that's perfectly describes what this guy is feeling. And what he is feeling appears to be rage. Like it's still fresh. And I feel like it's going to be fresh for a long time with this guy. And he's describing her so descriptively. I can hardly kiss her. I can't have sex with her.
Like he despises her.
We still fight all the time because she's mad. I can't get over everything that happened and all the shit I've been begrudgingly pulled her out of. She's like a mediocre roommate that leaves her nasty shit everywhere most days. And my effing God, I hate that I didn't find all this out. He's just going on a rant. He's like that guy. And in a oh, who's that guy? The crooner. He died in 1998. Frank Sinatra. He's like Frank Sinatra. Set him up, Joe, because I got a story that I think you should know. And one more for my baby, one more for the road. It's that song. I don't even know if you guys know what that song is, but he's like this guy. He's like at the bar and he's having drinks, and there's nobody out there. It's like 3 a.m. There ain't nobody here but you and me. We just had that scenario the other day, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Remember that shit? He's going through something, and he's got nothing to do. It's 3 a.m. He's in some random bar. It's maybe an hour or two to closing. He wants to bend the bartender's ear and tell him about all of his troubles. That's what this guy is right now, which means that this is all fresh. And so if
this is called the vent subreddit.
yes. And so I'm gonna qualify my advice. And because I don't speak for all men, I would like for everybody else to chime in and see if just tell me that I'm full of shit. I will agree with you. I might. There's 2 ways that this guy can go. Assuming that he's under 25. If it were me, get an effing divorce. Y'all don't have any kids. You guys probably don't have any property to divide. You're not going to be able to annul the marriage. There's no false pretenses in a no-fault state. So there's not going to be an annulment of a marriage. But if they've only been married for like a couple of years or less, there's very little consequence of that. Divide what you guys bought together. If she gets alimony at all, it's going to be for a very short period of time. Mitigate damages. Get out and then move on and celebrate the fact that you're going to be single and under the age of 25 or in your 20s.
Now, Omar, do you know in other states besides California, is alimony typically like half the marriage duration?
That is the general rule in a community property state. You have to understand what is the premise behind alimony. The whole premise behind alimony is because it used to be that we weren't so advanced as a nation. It used to be the fact that women very seldom had careers where they were making as much money as their husband counterparts. And so oftentimes, not only were they like the stay-at-home wives or whatnot, but they were basically sacrificing their youth so that their husband can go out and gain a career, have success, climb the corporate ladder, become a lawyer, become a doctor, buy property, whatnot. And then after all of that, sacrificing 5, 10, 15, 20 years of their life for this person that they wanted to share their lives with, perhaps raising 3, 4, 5 kids, more or less. Now they want to go, oh, I met the secretary. And they start banging the secretary. And she happens to be like 15 years younger than the wife. And it's like, all right, we had a good run, but you're going to have to go. And then they kick him to the curb, move in some other lady. And then, the law needed a way to deal with that. So the way that they dealt with it back in England, that we adopted their common law. The reason that alimony exists is to protect against that scenario where you have a woman that has sacrificed her life for a man, and now she's left with nothing. It prevents the guy from leaving her with nothing and forces him to take care of her, if he really wants to do that, basically for the rest of his life. There's varying degrees of that. There's like a 20-year marriage, a 10-year marriage, long-term marriages. If it's over 10 years, the most common order is going to be you will pay alimony for the rest of her life or until she remarries, whichever occurs first. That's the law. If it's less than that, it's usually half the term of the marriage. Why did I start talking about that?
So I think
who asked that question?
I asked that question.
Bruce did.
Oh, it was Bruce. Yeah, so that is the most common outcome of alimony when you have a short-term marriage like that, is you haven't really sacrificed a whole lot. If they're youngsters, you guys still are pretty much on equal footing. And so if you're under the age of 25 and this is the scenario, then just move on. Yeah. Get divorced. Whatever. What did you guys buy together? A car? Sell the car and split it?
A car.
Did they buy
a house? Pets and a car.
Yeah, they bought a house.
Frankie, have you ever done a case with petimony?
I did have a case where there were pets and then
Fighting for the custody of the pets.
yes, but then
Visitation.
my client was in jail. He comes out of jail, goes to opposing party's house, and finds that one of the pets it has died, and the other pets are eating off of that pet.
Oh my god.
So
What the fuck?
That's disturbing.
Jesus Christ.
That's wild.
Oh, no.
It's like the movie Alive, but with animals.
Jesus.
I had a
What do you
girlfriend
mean?
almost 2 years, and she wanted to set up a parenting plan for a dog. And I was like, no.
Oh my god! I just
we're
felt
not.
something else.
You keep the effing dog, man. Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
I haven't experienced it too many times, but I have had it hold up divorce judgments where people wanted to have custody of the dog, and it's just
Some people are very passionate about their pets. Very, very passionate.
yeah. And some people know that, and they want to punish them out of spite.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, anyway, my take on this guy is: look, move on. If you hate her that much, you're not going to get over. You feel this way now. You think it's going to get any better in 5 years, 10 years? You have this much this much spite for her right now. If he stays in a marriage like that, there's not really much chance that it's not going to grow to something even more sinister. So get out and salvage whatever dignity you have left, and take the L. Move on. Whatever the penalties for divorce that you have to experience now are far less than if you were to stay in this for another 10 to 15 years. And, reset.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the move. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he can't maintain this mindset forever, right? It's just not healthy, not necessary. Why would anybody stick around for that long
Yeah.
feeling that way?
On the other hand, I feel like, let's give you a different hypothetical. Let's just say that he found out that wife cheated on him for an extended period of time, but now they've been married for like 12 years. Everything else, for all intents and purposes, is fine. They have a happy marriage, more or less, but he just found this out because, I don't know, he tried to power up like an iPhone from 2013. And he's like, what the fuck? And he finds all these images. Who was that? That is not my penis. And then he just goes on this tirade.
Or vagina.
Whatever. Or vagina. Hey, you never know.
Swing both ways. People change.
And now he wants to make the big deal about it and like destroy what would otherwise be a good marriage. How would the analysis change then?
I think the issue would be though with alimony, because then in that scenario that though they will be married for more than 10 years, and in California adultery is immoral, but it's actually not illegal. So
Nobody gives a shit in California.
nobody gives a shit. So he's pretty much trapped
Yeah.
to pay her spousal support probably for the rest of her life, or until he can prove cohabitation.
So then the consequences of divorce are much greater.
Yes.
And you have otherwise a healthy marriage. I guess you could
Stick it out.
shit on her for what she did 13 years ago. But look what you guys have built in the course of 13 years. You're going to throw that all away because you're butthurt because of something that happened way back then. It's hard to swallow, yeah, but I don't know. You have proof of concept of what a life with her could be in a successful marriage scenario. What would
But
you
also,
do,
like,
Bruce? I'm sorry, go ahead, Schnitzel.
I guess to me it would also depend on when they found out. So if you find out 12 years later,
Yeah.
Yep.
and how do you trust that? For me, that trust would be completely broken. How do I know
Definitely.
everything else you've told me is the truth? So
Yeah.
can you gain that trust back somehow so you don't constantly wonder?
Especially if it's like from the start, then who are
Right.
you if you've always been this way?
Right. What else? And what else are you hiding?
Mm-hmm.
That is an extremely subjective issue to navigate through for everybody. And so the issue of trust, that's a difficult one, man, because everybody defines that differently. Everybody builds trust differently. And so there would be a complete emptying of whatever is in the trust accounts. And you'd have to find a way to re-evaluate it, build it back up. I don't know. That's going to take time. Substantial counseling, substantial talks, communication with your partner. That's a lot to have to try to navigate with anybody. It wouldn't be so easy. But like Priyanka was saying, maybe it's cheaper to keep her. What now? Now I got to give you half of my shit just because you wanted to get like horny on some like military boat 13 years ago, and you go banging this dude, and you chose me. How lucky me? What am I left? Right now he's really angry. But now let's transfer those feelings 13 years into the future. I'm sure he's still feeling all of that same stuff. I know, but gosh,
Could they
it
get a
changes the
separation
analysis.
without a divorce? Because I know someone who, he and his wife, they were married for probably 20 years at least,
Yeah.
and then decided not to be together, and they didn't get a divorce because of the money situation and how much he would owe her every month. And they had
How
3
often does that happen, Priyanka?
Well, I was actually going to say that, in these situations, just decide to have an open relationship, but I realized that just sounds wrong.
Well, and also she was like super religious, and she didn't believe in divorce. So she also
double
didn't
whammy.
like yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
both sides of that. So they are still married to this day, but they have nothing to do with each other for years now.
Let me talk about the prospect of an open relationship. Men, let's just say that your woman wanted to come to you and said, "Hey, I want to bang other dudes. You can bang whoever you want. I'm going to bang other dudes. I think that you're great, but I need more." Are you in or are you out?
My husband.
I know that I'm rather rash in the way that I proposed it. She'd probably be a little softer. I'm just saying that's basically the proposal. What would you say?
I would say I don't agree with it. Go do what you want, and then get an adultery decree, and then divorce.
Ooh.
So Brad is all the way out. What would you say, Bruce?
I would probably be out with that. It's a little different than what Schnitzel was talking about, though, which is where two people continue to be married, but just like don't
Separate
even
lives.
Yeah, don't
interact
interact.
at all.
Yeah.
That's
In that case,
hard.
it's a little more different because you're not living with that person. You're not seeing them do these things.
I'm going to
If
talk
you're-
about. There's another case that
It's a little weird because you can never get married to somebody else again, I guess.
So what if
Very strange.
if you found someone else, you're dating them, still legally married, find someone else dating them, you want to get married to them, you get the other divorce, then you get married. What is your alimony responsibility at that point?
So it depends on when you got separated. But in a 12 years marriage, you're basically screwed either way. But if it is a short-term marriage, then as long as you can prove that this is the date when we got separated, and that includes you can live in the same house, but you're living in separate rooms, you're not having sexual intercourse, you're basically doing your own things, and you guys are dating or not won't matter. So that date of separation determines whether you should, like the other party should get alimony or not.
Michigan actually requires 1 year separation before divorce. So
Wow.
Is this the whole thing? I remember like Brad Pitt and was it Jennifer Aniston got divorced at like 9 years because there was this, they were probably married in California, and there was this whole like 10-year rule. I remember it like, from my teens. Like I
They were
remember
right at the deadline.
Hey, your dad invested, huh?
I guess at that point I was. Nothing else better going on.
I don't know anything about his divorced. What's her name? What was her name again?
Jennifer Aniston.
I did not follow. But yeah, that seems like it would have been a pretty big issue. I've had literal trials over the issues of date of separation because of the implication of the long-term marriage rule. I don't know, man. I asked that question to the guys about the open marriage. Schnitzel, Jocelyn, Priyanka. Okay, so your guy says, you know what? I just need some variety in my life, man. Look, you're great. You're great. I think that you're wonderful. You're a good woman. I just want to have more fun without you. And so, look, we could open up. You can do whatever you want. I'm not going to ask you any questions. Don't ask me any questions. Just know that I'm going to be doing my thing. You do your thing. We don't have to talk about it. Are you in or are you out?
So I would say my first question, or rather my first assessment, would be if anything can work out between us. Because, so not to insult anybody, but it's easier for women to get men than.
Well, that's not really a big mystery. Of course it is.
No, what I was going to mention was I love reading those Reddit posts where they're like, "Oh, me and my wife opened up my marriage and I made a mistake." It's their wives always just like getting way more game, and their husbands like just has to watch it unfold, and they can do nothing because they're the one that suggested it in the first place.
Yeah.
This is what you're saying. Literally, if you walk down the street right now and you just like polled random 10 guys, hey, you want to bang?
like 9 out of 10 times.
9 out of 10 of the guys are I don't know what the percent, like at least 6 out of 10 of the guys would be like, fuck yeah. You know, I got a mattress right here. I got a truck.
So what do you guys say?
Yeah.
It's not that way with men, but it's the nature of some would posit that women control sex. Some have said that. Men control marriage. It's the trade-off. It's like men have to choose who they want to marry. Women will always be able to choose who they want to have sex with. It's the incongruous nature or the congruous nature of how men and women interact with the other sex.
The yin and
But
the yang.
women also get emotional faster.
Yes.
With physical intimacy
And men
compared
do
to
not.
men.
Men get emotionally invested in who they want to get emotionally invested in.
Yeah.
Men could literally have sex with somebody, have no regard for them whatsoever. Ask JD Vance. Right, Brad?
Ask Clayton Eckert.
Couch.
Oh,
Hell
damn.
yeah. JD Vance will literally bang a couch because it you know.
No emotional feelings. No
Shit
I'd
happens
rather bang
when
the
you get
couch than the petitioner.
Paralegal Liz says, in my state, they can't be in the same roof in 1 year separation. That sounds like an alimony. What are they talking about over there?
So I know in North Carolina, there is this rule that if you are under the same roof, although you're doing everything else separate, you are still not legally separated.
That's true.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's sort of like how in California, if you guys still live together, why are we like, why we're not going to award support? You guys are living together.
Yeah.
You want support, then somebody's got to move out.
But it's not considered separation in other states?
They don't use the word separation. It's just like, I'm not going to award support because the issue's not right because you guys literally live together.
Okay.
And so, we get those cases all the time. Anyway, long story short, I don't know how we got in an open relationship. Look, this guy, I feel like he should get divorced. To the extent that he's like in this long-term relationship. Gosh, man.
He seems young, though.
He does seem young, but let's just say, look, I've seen 40-year-olds act like 20-year-olds all the time.
Or a 52-year-old act like a
I feel like if you're going to make I need to know how old this guy is before I properly advise him. Let's just say he's an older guy. Let's just say he's Bruce's age. It's like, Bruce.
Are you calling me old and white?
Bruce.
Old and decrepit.
You know,
This Bruce is older than this Bruce.
You know who called me old and white recently?
Who called you? Who would say such a thing about Bruce?
Your friend David.
Really? He said you're
Yeah.
old and white? I don't even know why he said that.
He ripped off his intro and said, "This is my first episode, might be the last."
I don't think he meant to do that on purpose. I think it was random. But people gave him a hard time, and he's like, I don't even know who Bruce is. But I know two things about him. He's old and he's white. And I'm like, wait, zero is not equal to, sir. That's just math.
Two facts.
On this panel, you are kind of the senior citizen, Bruce, the voice of reason.
Oh, boy. All
Yeah,
right.
the voice of reason is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Not senior citizens.
By the way, Stephanie B is
Grandpa
really
Moose.
infatuated with
Grandpa.
Bruce's voice. He's got a calm way of talking, you know. He's got a storybook telling voice. Like he could tell somebody a story.
Imagine.
That's where the
Ladies
voice
and
of
gentlemen.
reason comes from. That's where the voice of reason
Yeah,
comes
Bruce
from.
calms
In the
me down.
world.
Like I get all excited and I hear Bruce talking. It's like, God damn it! I feel like I need to hang some antlers on my wall.
You should read stories.
No homo.
In a world
just saying.
of fake twins.
Oh, look,
Maybe a voice actor.
I'm forever 12. What can I say?
So my big thing about the poster is that he says that he fell very hard in the very beginning. He was infatuated without end, and I don't know what caused that. But that sounds like someone who was very young at the time, who had a very grandiose idea of what this woman was. And then no, I don't think there's an or, but
there is an or.
What's the or?
Tits and ass?
No.
All right. Young men will be infatuated with that
But again, that's
irrationally.
further proving his youth. His
I
youth.
think
That's
he's
what I'm at.
probably a young. I'd say he's under 27.
Yeah.
But then
All I'm saying is that young men will irrationally be infatuated with overly attractive women. No reason and without justification for the pure fact that they're overtly attractive.
That's not just with young men.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm speaking only for young men. I dare
Like
not speak for
exclusively.
women. Yeah, I got women on the show to talk about that.
I've had a
but
couple.
true.
I'm not calling myself overly attractive. I am saying that with a couple of different guys, it has been like usually like if there are real feelings there, I will fall fast. But there were like no feelings developed yet, and they're like, "You're amazing." Like I want to. Like, no,
laying it on
no.
thick.
Fastest way to hell.
Yeah.
That's the biggest red flag.
They expose
They're
themselves so
young.
fast.
Yeah, but they were under about 26 or 27.
I just feel like if Disney could create the perfect princess,
Oh
that they
my
would draw
God.
you. You're like the woman of my
And it was
dreams.
Who
kissing a
talks like
princess.
that?
This one guy said it was like kissing a
Young guys.
and I was like, no.
Hard
Kissing a
eye
what?
roll.
A princess.
Oh,
He said
they
kissing
did
me
call
was
you
like
a Disney
kissing princess.
princess.
He called
Hard
me a
eye roll.
It was a hard
My
no.
God.
It never happened again.
Oh my God, you should be a Disney princess. Just so you know, my favorite princess is like I don't know, name one.
Princess Leia.
Rapunzel.
You look just like her. They need to make
Princess Leia.
they need to make a movie about you, Princess Leia. Exactly.
I'm
If I could
imagining
draw the
myself
perfect
after-
woman in my dreams, she would have exactly your curvatures.
Okay, that's a
Curvature.
curvature.
It's the curvatures. It's the musculature. I don't even know if you guys realize I'm doing it, but I'm quoting like this guy from Howard Stern show from like
A lot
years
of
ago.
work to do.
Not.
All right, can we move on to a different hypothetical? I'm bored with this one. Jesus Christ.
Also, I just want to imagine my schnitzel in a princess dress. Like a crown.
Your schnitzel and a
My avatar.
I'm thinking about things right now.
Instead
I
of the
don't know.
bandit bandana, be a princess.
I can't. I'm. Look, my daughters wear Disney princess dresses. It's like it's not. You know,
My
why
son
would you
does-
sexualize a child's fairy tale?
What? No, I'm not. What?
Oh, not you. I'm just saying. I'm just
Like
saying
these young men.
Misunderstood.
these youngsters over here.
Yeah.
You know what? Let us move on. How long did we spend on that hypothetical? That was exceptionally boring. 37 minutes. Jesus, we gotta move. We gotta get this show on the road. Jocelyn's got like 40 minutes. Jocelyn's got a hot date with I don't know who it is,
To be determined.
but a TBD.
To be determined what?
She's going out searching for.
Just a screen name.
Go and
I
search.
just have a couple options, you know. I'm still browsing through.
She's going out on
That's
the
like
prowl.
DoorDash. You don't know if you're.
I haven't picked yet, you know, just
What?
who's gonna give me the best deal. You know?
Oh my God.
They're all awaiting a text at like
Yeah.
4:30.
Oh, all right. I'm done with this guy's whiny ass. I need something else. I need something different. Let's see what we got. Here's from a lady. Let's see what she has to say. So, this is going to be depressing. So, I'm considering a divorce with my husband while he's in a psychiatric hospital, but I don't know if it's the right thing to do. Schnitzel, do you want to read this one?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Hell
I
yeah.
know. I know it sounds absolutely terrible, but I genuinely don't know what to do anymore. I made some posts about my husband's odd behavior regarding our daughter, 6 now, 5 at the time, and her artwork. To sum things up, he was destroying or throwing away the art she was making without telling me and lying about it. I had confronted him about it, but he got defensive and went so far as to break our art supplies afterwards. I dropped off our daughter with my mom before trying to talk to him again since I was nervous, honestly. I didn't know what he'd do. It'd been over a year since then at this point, but basically I told him that I was worried that he was acting really erratic and that I really thought he should try and get some help. And he agreed. I was so relieved. And when we talked about getting in touch with a therapist, trying to figure out why he was so against the art, he told me at the time that he didn't know why it bothered him, but I'm not really sure if he was lying or not. Things were fine for a couple weeks with him leaving and going to therapy and our daughter being happy and fine. Honestly, I thought that was the end of it. Then he had some issue, but was working on it, except I was completely wrong. I got home one night after being out with some friends, and he told me that he didn't feel comfortable being around our daughter. I was absolutely taken off guard because I thought he was doing better, and more so, I didn't think it was this big of a deal. Not to point out of being, to the point, not to the point of being worried about safety. Looking back, it wasn't the right choice, but I begged him not to go. It didn't matter anyway. He packed up some clothes and left after checking on our daughter who was asleep. I was crushed. He didn't even wait until morning to say a proper goodbye to her, and this whole thing just came out of the blue.
Can we pause?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
This guy needs a CT scan because he might have a brain tumor.
What is it? Yeah, what is?
Yeah.
I can't figure out what's happening here.
I'm trying to like.
She doesn't. It's just a decline or something.
Like mentally there's something
All right.
wrong. Yeah.
You know what? Let's continue. I feel like we need to continue.
He drove a couple hours away to a hospital closer to where his family lived and admitted himself. I felt just so numb and confused because obviously I would support him no matter what, but this felt like such a rapid escalation that I didn't know how to handle. And that's basically where we are now. It's basically been a little over a year and he's still there. This was one hell of an adjustment period, but I promised him that I was there for him no matter what, that I still love him, that I'm proud of him for working on himself. And I mean that, I really do. But things just aren't getting better. At first, we spoke most days, either on the phone or on a video call, but it got less and less until now, where he maybe calls me once a week. Our daughter has adjusted so well, but I think she's getting a sense of permanence about it all, and I can't say I blame her.
Did she say how the daughter is?
6.
6.
Yeah.
Yee. Okay.
It's feeling pretty permanent, and it's been about a year, right? About a year. She was 5 when it first started happening.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Kids can adjust pretty quick, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's feeling pretty permanent to me too. I don't even know truthfully why he's still there. Not that I knew why he went in the first place. I ask him about it, but he gets weird and dodgy, and I just can't bring myself to fight it. He's got a right to privacy, but at the same time, I'm his wife. I wish I wasn't quite as much of a pacifist. Recently, I was talking with my brother-in-law, who's one of my only in-laws who still really talks to me. My mother-in-law basically doesn't say a word to me, even when I reach out. Sometimes she'll ask about my daughter, but it's just depressingly silent. But brother-in-law still acts like I'm family, which I am. He came over recently and we were talking, and he mentioned that he visited my husband. I was utterly speechless. My husband hasn't let me or our daughter visit. I understand that a brother is different, but still, I'm his wife. I just don't really know what to do about it. Brother-in-law said that my husband seems to be doing better, seems happier, but I don't know what to believe anymore. My husband still refuses to give any sort of timeline on how long he's planning to stay in the hospital, and I am at the end of my rope. I promised that I'd love and support him, but I just feel so alone. I feel like he doesn't really talk to me anymore, let alone love me. And honestly, my daughter seems just as happy as she was before, if not happier. She gets upset about her daddy sometimes, but most of the time it's almost like she's forgotten about him. I used to try and make sure she still felt connected, still felt like her daddy was part of her life, but as of late, it's just hard to feel right doing so. The man barely talks to us anymore. I don't want to be married anymore, not like this. I feel like scum even thinking about it, but I just can't imagine ever returning to a normal after this. I basically haven't known what's going on with my husband for over a year now, and I've never felt so alone in my entire life. And I can't help but feel like maybe if I just end things, that I might be able to start feeling okay again. Am I being stupid? Should I keep trying to push through this with my husband, or am I maybe in the right for at least exploring the option of divorce? I don't know what to do and could really use some advice about all
Well, if she was my sister, I already know what I would say. But what I might say might not be the correct solution. I mean,
Well, there's a couple of things.
she's 31. He's 33. And the daughter's 6?
Yeah.
6 years old. Okay. This kind of goes down to vows, right? It's like
In sickness and in health or something.
all of that stuff. But Marvin Gaye, very famously, in an album that he wrote back in 1973, he wrote this album called "Here, My Dear." Priyanka, I don't even know if you're familiar, but
I'm not.
there was this very famous case involving Marvin Gaye and alimony. One of the orders for alimony was that the proceeds of his next album were going to go exclusively towards paying off arrears and alimony to his wife. So he said, well, fuck that. I'm going to write a shitty album. And the album that he proceeded to write was this album called Here, My Dear, which was supposed to be like this diary of like how shitty their relationship was.
Jesus.
And then like in the lyrics, it was like, when you say your marriage vows, he said, it's supposed to be for real. I mean, if you think about what you're really sad about, loving and obeying until death do us part and all, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be lies, because if it turns out to be lies, then you don't honor what you said. And then you lie to God. The words should be changed. It really just depends on what you think of your vows. Are they to be taken literal? Because she has a couple of different duties. One of them is to her husband, who may or may not be mentally well. The other is to her daughter, who may or may not be in peril. But at the same time, explicably, her daughter has no regard to an absent father who is maybe mentally ill. She just has no regard for him. And if that continues for a period of time, she's going to continue to have no regard for him. He's going to be a symbolic story piece in the backdrop of her life. And she will, in all resilience and candor, persevere and become who she was always going to become. So what do you do in that scenario? Is it worth it to try to place her in continued peril for the sake of your vows? Or do you cut ties for a guy that's very obviously mentally ill and not up to the task that you thought you were getting? Because there's another aspect to that, to your vows, and that you had made a deal to be married to a guy that was mentally stable. How the fuck were you supposed to know that the guy was going to lose it?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned vows, because I feel like it applies to him as well, right? And leaving her in the dark and not expressing what's going on with her.
I think she should file for divorce. And if we forget, like, I'm not Christian, and our vows are a little different, but just forget about the vows. Let's talk about what is in the best interest of the child.
That would be what a family law attorney would say.
It's coming out.
And because, just worst case scenario, he also contests it, and this goes to court. Family Code 3011 clearly states that even in case of custody, when you're filing for divorce, it's basically you are also asking that mom wants sole legal, sole physical custody of the child with at, I would say, discretionary visits with father. But anyway, and one of the criteria under 3011 is best interest of the child.
Well, that is the chief.
The chief criteria. And here it is very difficult for a child to grow up without a father, but it is more difficult for a child to grow up without both the parents.
Could I ask a question to my panel, to all of you guys, everybody, men and women? How many of you grew up without a traditional father? One.
I had a traditional father. I
had one too.
Alive.
Or have one too, yes.
So Bruce and Priyanka, without a traditional, I'll raise my hand on that one. A third. 4 of the 6 of us. We all present to be reasonable human beings. I mean, we're not, we didn't require lobotomies, as far as I'm aware. We're resilient as children, and we
the week's not over.
Yeah.
So are you saying you don't have daddy issues?
But we are the best case scenarios, right?
The best case scenarios.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying that a child will not be damaged by having 2 well-respecting parents in the best of circumstances. There's probably some drawbacks that happen, and there's some adjustments that need to be accounted for with respect to personality and not living in an ideal household. I'm just saying that the human condition is to live with inconsistency and volatility of variables, and having to contend with unpredictability, and our ability to persevere and be adaptable to those changes. And because it's human nature to have to adapt, most of the time it works out just fine. Like, the child is not going to be forever in peril.
Yes,
in the
but
absence
then
of a father.
yes, but then the mother has to be capable enough or mentally to take care of the child right now.
Did you? I'm sorry to sidetrack. There was this case that I learned about just the other day. This guy, he was like 40 years old, had 3 teenage children, had a wife. He started talking to some lady from international, I don't know, Belarus or something. And then he fakes his own death.
Oh, I saw that.
What?
He fakes
I
his
saw
death. He
that.
fakes his drowning in a kayak so that he can go move internationally with this lady from wherever she was.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, he's going to get there and it's going to be some scammer. There's going to be some guy that was just pulling his strings all along.
Catfish.
Oh my God.
That's one for not wanting to take responsibility.
I'm just saying. And now they know that he's still alive. And the authorities like, look, Dick, we know what you did. We know what you did. We got your computer
my God.
records.
It's not arguably worse. You could have just left.
Yeah,
You know, like,
that's like now he's trapped.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
like,
don't see him
you got
getting
some
out.
kids here. They're wondering where you're at. They deserve to know what happened. You got your wife here. If you were the wife in that scenario, are you taking that guy back under any scenario?
No.
Not a chance.
Dumbass.
how much money he can give
Oh,
me.
you're going with the Belarus supermodel?
But I'm taking the money.
Dipshit?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
I've got a very cynical take on this case, and
Do it, Brad. I'm here for it.
inpatient hospital therapy costs a lot of money, and if he's been doing it for a year, someone or something has to be paying for that. And I've got to wonder, is he actually in the hospital, or did he just use that as an excuse to leave?
Oh, that's
Because
It's very true.
because her brother-in-law says that he's happier and whatnot, and if he's talking to them, it makes it seem like he's just out on his own and not actually at the hospital. So
I'll tell you what.
Oh my
You're
god.
not out of bounds there. Schnitzel, you've been
agree.
married for how long?
4 years.
4 years. And you got you have children?
One. Yep.
You have a child.
4-year-old. Yep.
Let's just say that your husband was the guy that was like in the mental health facility and presenting as having all of these mental illnesses, and it was to your child's peril. What would be your reaction to all of this?
I don't know if I'd file for like legal divorce, but I definitely separate. I think even for my own mental health into like, I feel the same way as Priyanka. I would do what is best for the child. So
Yeah.
if I saw, and maybe eventually you can reconcile and like things will be better. In this case, I agree. It doesn't sound like he's actually at this hospital or he wants anything to do with the family or clear. Like I'm all about clear communication. So he could say, I need space. I can't have, for my own mental health, for my own journey, I can't have communication with you guys.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to explain why, but just say that's the case.
I guess
And
my
he's-
question to you would be, would you suspect that he's like malingering these symptoms for the sake of just trying to gain some space?
If this were me, yes. If
He's
this
borderline trying to fake his death, but in a different way.
yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. This guy
out.
could literally be in the storeroom of a Domino's pizza,
Yeah, literally.
eating pizza every day for a year.
Yeah, it's weird. The same pizza every day.
The same pizza.
Yeah, I
That's
think
why he's happier.
Oh,
I think it's sketchy. I think there's something else going on. And he's
I can't
not
disagree with that. I really can't. I just can't. I can't. Look, I know mentally ill people. They're just not that coherent. Hey, Priyanka, have you ever represented people that were like 5150, like that were literally found incompetent to stand trial? And your job as an attorney was to get them competent or make a finding that they were competent so that we could proceed with the trial?
Yes. My case is not in trial yet, but yes, I do have somebody who is in a way incompetent. He's suicidal and he's having his own mental health issues. And mom is saying that, well, since he is suicidal, he shouldn't see his child at all because mom is worried that he's going to hurt the child.
I've had literal cases where all the guy had to do was take his effing meds because when they found him competent, they were going to allow him to take a plea deal that would immediately release him from prison. The conundrum was he was refusing to take his meds, and because he's not competent to stand trial, he cannot constitutionally enter into a plea of guilty because he's not in his mentally right mind. And so the goal was to get him to be found mentally competent, to stand trial so that we could get him in a plea. Yeah.
But what about insanity? Like, that's a defense to get out of jail.
It's a defense, but the remedy for that is you're going to sit there in a jailed facility, whether it be for the purposes of maintaining your mental health or otherwise, until you're found to be competent, which means if there is a plea deal on the table where you can plead and they will just give you, look, time for the guy's crime was he took his clothes off in like a Best Buy or something. Like he went to a store,
probably insanity,
got naked. Yeah,
bordering. Yeah,
he destroyed some things. He broke some things.
He probably saw all those DVD copies of Weekend at Bernie's too, and just went off the rails.
Yeah, all he had to do was be found competent. They were going to let him go. The judge wanted to let him go. The judge was literally my mock trial professor, and so we knew him. And like it's like, oh, it's Professor over here. It's like, yeah, it's Professor. And then the whole, it's like, what's up with your client? It's like, Your Honor, he wants to accept the plea. The problem with that is, counselor, he's been found to be not mentally competent, and I don't have a report here that says that he's malingering or otherwise, and so we can't. And it was the whole conundrum. What I'm trying to say is there is a difference in genuine mental incapacity and malingered incapacity. And I don't know if this guy's ever been put to the test, but I think that Schnitzel's instincts are right and Jocelyn's instincts are right. He's faking this to get out of something.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, fuck. Like, what if you were like this guy's kid and like you knew that? Like, how would that make you feel?
There's definitely something going on here that we don't know.
Something that he's not saying. Yeah, we're missing information here.
Like, we need diagnostics.
Because this guy's been out of the workforce for a year, assuming that he worked prior. But like, either she's working and he's on her health insurance, and they're somehow paying for a year's worth of inpatient hospitalization, which is
Medicare?
Wild.
Could be Medicare, yeah.
Could be Medicare, but at some point, he would have to release his own medical records to allow her to even know what the heck is going on.
Does the wife have access to
This is weird. You'd think their mailbox would be overflowing with this stuff.
The wife should, by law.
Yeah. Do they have access? Should they have access to that by law?
Yes, by law,
To
the
his
wife
medical
can
records?
access. Well, maybe not therapist records, but I believe it's still a HIPAA violation, though. But other than that, hospital records, if he's in a hospital, what he's doing.
Or literally
wife-
call and say like, "Hey,
Yeah, can you call?
so-and-so,
Can you send over my
They're like,
husband?
we don't have a patient here by that name."
It's a
I mean, I
bad
would
sign if
say-
you won't sign the HIPAA release, because even petitioner signed the HIPAA release.
I mean, and I would say like she should file for divorce and ask for a 730 evaluation.
Angel from Australia says that my ex-brother-in-law left my sister and their two girls due to mental health. He just left. My sister got an email from him the day after filing for separation. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, granted he is, but at least he said it.
Yes.
You know?
But was he
Oh
really,
my
or
God,
was he
yes.
just? I guess there's a difference between. Look, there's a difference between genuine mental incapacity and just being fed up with your life situation. If I were to tell you that there was a guy that's going to fake his death to go with some supermodel in Belarus, that's actually some scammer in South Africa that's been like siphoning money out of his account for years, would you describe him as mentally ill or just a dumbass?
Dumbass.
Mentally ill dumbass, yeah.
I can tell you what mental illness looks like. One of them was that. I've told you about that lady that
Yes. you did tell
masturbated
me.
in the prison. I told you that. Bianca, there was this lady. I went to Robert Presley. She was 5150. She was facing charges for trying to have sex with minors. Basically statutory rape charges, sexual assault charges of minor children. She was found incompetent to stand trial. In the process of going to visit her like during a jail visit. She proceeds to, I haven't had sex in like 18 months or whatever she said. And I get so worked up in here. She proceeds to strip naked and start masturbating in front of me to the point of like, hey, guards. I'm like pressing the button.
I'm done. Let me out.
Something's happening.
Emergency, please. Please.
Yeah.
I mean, Omar, this is just what your voice does to people sometimes.
Yeah.
It was totally my voice.
I'm doing it right now.
It's your fault, Omar.
Oh, literally, my daughters told me yesterday, Dad, you can't talk like that. You have to use the princess voice. It's like, what do you mean the princess voice?
What's the princess voice?
It's like, you have to talk like a girl. I can't talk like a girl. It's like, Dad, it's just not the same, okay?
That's what she
Mommy
was
has
saying.
to read the story. It's like, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, come on. It's immersive for you to do the voice. Come on. I'm on their
They
side here.
they don't like it when I use the big voice.
Yeah, why would you use the big voice for a princess story? Get with the program, Omar.
It's like, Evelyn, you can't do that. You can't just take stuff and throw it on the floor. Dad, I don't like it when you use your big voice. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just, all right.
I'm on Evelyn's side here. She's got a point.
Look, I don't know. Why are we talking about my voice? I thought we were talking about a lady that started.
We get sidetracked easily.
All I'm saying is there's a difference between genuine mental illness and people malingering symptoms for their own purposes. I suspect that the two of you are right, that he's probably just trying to get out of a situation that he doesn't want to be a part of anymore. And to that degree, I mean, what do you tell this lady? Yeah, divorce him then. Your daughter seems to be getting along fine. The thing that she closed with was that, she seems to be doing well despite.
You know what? And Stephanie B said, she said he has a right to privacy, but she's a pacifist, so it doesn't sound like she's taking any action, which is true.
Fuck his right to privacy. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, how
they're
could
married.
they're married, and
Yeah, so she's got to get up, figure it out, get some answers.
yeah, and the best way to do it is to file for divorce and then 7:30 evaluation followed by discovery. Everything will come out anyway.
Oh, Priyanka, you're stressing me out. We got to go 7:30 eval for that. Jesus.
Could she hire a private moose investigator to figure things out, or is that?
And then
not
she's going to find out
advised?
that he's going to the gay bathhouse and wherever. And
It's
Is that
probably
enough?
Actually
Well,
wants
that
to
will
be
be
a-
easier for the divorce.
Yeah,
If it's gay. I mean, that will be easier.
Makes it easier, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it simple.
From now on, he's going to be known as Loretta. And you need to respect his right to procreate.
There you go.
It doesn't matter if he has ovaries or not.
Doesn't matter as long as we can sign the judgment.
So, Priyanka and Omar, this would be an interesting question.
Yeah.
In getting a PI to go track him down versus doing the 7:30 and
Yeah.
all of that nonsense, does that actually make it faster because
No.
you already have this
No.
information, or would you
Because-
still have to?
Even if he had a PI, like watch him go into the gay bathhouse, that's not proof of anything. If you have an expert to come in to testify what that actually means, that's more persuasive in a court of law.
And I think a PI is inadmissible evidence, like any picture or anything that PI
It just
takes.
depends, right? It depends on expectations of privacy, and it depends on exceptions to those expectations, right? And so if you're out in public, then fine.
But even then, recordings in California would still be under the penal code.
Surreptitious recordings have exceptions, right? So there's that. Look, it really just depends. PIs are not dispositive. If you have experts that are willing to give expert opinions, that's always more persuasive. That's the answer to your question, Brad. I don't know where we.
But
Sounds like my new PI career is really tenuous here.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that different state by state in terms of
Rob
PIs?
wants to know if honey mustard is in the house. I don't know what the fuck that means, Rob. Where are we going with that?
No,
comment?
he's saying you are the honey mustard.
Oh, am I the honey mustard? What does honey mustard mean?
I have no
You're
idea.
my opposing counsel. I'll just
Sounds like, it sounds like he
no.
wants to put you on both sides of the sandwich.
My
I don't want to
point-
be on, but I swing on one side of the sandwich, sir. What do you mean both sides of the sandwich? Oh, Jesus
Little
Christ.
inside joke.
My point in asking is because if he's supposed to be institutionalized at this hospital day in and day out for 7 days, and PI goes and tracks him down and finds him everywhere else,
Well,
it'd be,
there's a simple solution. There is a difference between voluntary and involuntary institution. You can enroll yourself in whatever rehab mental health facility you want to, It doesn't mean that you were required to go there because of 5150 or otherwise. And so just PIs are good for TV. They're not great for court.
Yes.
Is what I would say.
So good for more private reasons.
To Priyanka's point, 730 evaluations is the really expensive, but the most adequate way to proceed. Could we move on from this hypothetical? Is there anything else to dissect?
Have we for this one?
Yeah, fuck this one. This one's, I don't like this one
She
anymore.
just needs to get up and go.
Just go.
And do.
Just go. Your kid's going to be fine.
Just do it.
Let's go into, holy shit. I only saved, oh, well. All right, let's do this one. All right, this will be a good one. This will be a good one for the men. Maybe it'll be good for, why are you giving me that look? What is that?
Yeah, we'll just walk.
I'm getting this weird look from Priyanka. It's like, we look like the panda bear. I was like, what is that shit? Just like, what did I do? Okay, look. This guy says, could I?
Yeah, sure.
I need a hypothetical that gives me like ages and lengths of marriage, and we have. I don't know.
We need more information in these hypotheticals.
This guy's been married for 15 years.
You got to share it first.
Do this. Yes. Thank you, Bruce.
God damn it,
Brad.
We should do a counter.
Yes.
You just have it on the bottom of the screen.
How many Bruces are on screen right now?
Yeah.
I mean, all those old white men look the same, right?
You can't just have two B names and expect me just every single time. When I'm like a couple of double shots in of Jameson Black Barrel.
We can make guesses before the stream start. How many times are you going to mistake
There's
it?
a such thing as excessive lubrication is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
So you fake twins.
Yes. Or maybe never mind. I'm going to say something out of bounds. All right. This guy, the title of this post is, I love my wife. I'm strongly considering divorce.
Okay.
Let him allow us to bend our ear. He says, irreconcilable, is it shared? Yeah. Irreconcilable differences is why. Has anyone divorced while still having love for their spouse?
All the time.
I can answer that question unequivocally. I don't think that there's, more often than not, how many times have you done in court a bifurcation judgment where people are getting officially divorced and it's known right then and there when both parties are present in the courtroom?
Not a lot. Most of my divorces are extremely litigious for some reason.
What luck.
Well, it's a common theme in my cases that I get people officially divorced that is really important to them. And then we go to the process. So have irreconcilable differences arisen in your marriage such that no amount of counseling will be able to help? Yes. Do you wish to be restored to the status of a single person? Yes, I do. Do you wish to be restored to the last name that you had before? Yes, I do. Fine. And then you go through that whole practice. More often than not, when both parties are in the courtroom, over 50% of the time, they start crying.
Really?
It's like this very real official event that's happening. Because I tell them, look, we could deal with all of the other bullshit later, but you're going to get officially divorced today. And so it's just very real and very raw. And you're talking about people that have been married for 8 years, 13 years, 22 years, and now we're making it official. And you're telling a judge irreconcilable differences have arisen in my marriage such that no amount of counseling will be able to rectify it. I want to be restored. I want to terminate my marriage. I want to be restored to the status of a single person. The fact of officially saying that in a court of law, tears start to flow.
I guess I have always been on the wrong side because whenever my court has inquired of my clients, they're generally happy because they're already dating someone.
Well, you've only been practicing for 2.5 years.
That too, yes.
They're just ready to go in your case.
Yes.
Is this your normal process where this all happens in court live? Like,
yes.
Instead of a judgment from a judge being mailed to you like weeks later or something?
Angel, thank you so much for gifting 10 Tilted Lawyer memberships. Bruce, answer your question. Yes. So oftentimes what we do is what's really important to my clients is they want to be they just want to be officially divorced. And I say, I mean, I could do that, or I could do that right now. We will reserve on the community property issues and whatever else. I could get you guys to officially divorce. And we go through the practice of what's called in California, a judgment of bifurcation, which is exactly what I said. And that's the questions that you asked.
Yeah. Okay. And
irreconcilable differences have arisen and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
The bifurcation process versus some other process. What's the mix for you?
Well, I don't know what the official mix would be. It's probably 30%. It's
Right. I
important to
think
them.
every divorce, any divorce cases that we have, which has been going on at least for a year,
Yeah.
qualify for a bifurcation.
Could we just get officially divorced already? Yeah, you can.
Yes. So that's like a status only judgment, right?
Status only
Yes.
judgment.
Unique
It's
thing
exactly
for
what it is.
California, or do you think?
No,
maybe
I
just
don't.
other
I
states?
seriously doubt it's unique to California. I think every state probably has the same thing. Like, you're going to get officially divorced, but we're going to reserve on all of these other issues to get you equitably divorced. They're two different things. And the reason why it matters is, like, maybe you just want to marry the mistress. Maybe you want to marry your boyfriend. And you can't do that while you're officially married. So we will get you officially divorced so you can do whatever you want to do.
We're gonna rip the Band-Aid off first, and then we're gonna do all
Yeah.
this
Then we'll deal with
later.
all the other shit. Yeah.
Hey, Schnitzel, you still in there or what?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just
Just double checking.
yeah.
My son is down like in this area playing, so I'm muting myself a lot.
I get it, man.
All right, I gotta go. Thanks for everything.
Oh, all right, Jocelyn.
Bye, Jocelyn.
Thanks for participating.
Enjoy
And
whoever you're having tonight.
TGIF.
We'll find out.
she's got to make
boy.
decisions.
Jeez.
Could you just wrap up? Don't come back like a,
Yeah.
all right.
I actually also have to go.
Oh, okay. Well, Frank is also going to leave.
Oh no.
That was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And
To meet you all.
For sure.
It was a pleasure to have you. It's always good to have another attorney on the panel.
Yeah.
And somehow we're going to have to manage without you.
I'm sure you'll do it.
And
Yeah,
this is
we'll
probably
be
a bad
fine.
time to mention that I
Hey.
should go pick up my son.
But seriously, thanks for
Oh my
joining.
gosh.
No, no. I was actually texting my husband because he's divorced, not from me, but from someone else before me.
Oh, well, that's a
And,
relief.
Yeah. So he had filed for divorce and they used a mediator and like stayed very separate, like didn't really want to see each other or anything. So I think like, he went in whatever the finalization was, like he went in before her and whatever. So anyway, just thinking about how quickly you find out and all that stuff you guys are talking about. Their process was pretty quick, aside from her wanting.
It can be quick. It can be quick, or it could take forever. It just depends. And to be honest with you, I think I don't know. I'm a couple of double Jameson Black Barrels in, and so I'm a little bit. I have to pay extra particular attention to what's going on to make sure that I follow. By the way, there's a Mike Tyson fight today. Did you know that, Jesus?
Jesus.
Jesus. Can we move on? I'm tired of this hypothetical already.
We don't even know what their issues are.
Oh, did we move on to another one, or what are we doing?
Well, we didn't even really get into this one.
Yeah, we didn't get into it.
Son of a
He
bitch.
said there were irreconcilable differences, but he didn't explain them.
Oh, I thought we were on the other one already.
Although
Okay.
I feel like it was just going to devolve into a long, rambling story. So
As
I don't
they all
know.
kind of do. Hey, Brad, if you got to go get your kid, I got Schnitzel, I got Bruce. Not
I mean,
Brad.
I can transfer to audio only. It's just going to be a moment.
Oh no, you're good. I do that to you all the time. Whenever you ask me, I never show my face on camera, and it's fine. All right, let's get into this hypothetical. Okay, so has anyone divorced while still having love for their spouse? Is this the right decision for me? There's no villains in this story. We've been married.
David Gingras.
That's what he says.
There's been you know what? Later. We've been married 15 We've been married for 15 years. We have 2 young children, elementary and middle school age. I have no idea how to summarize 15 years into a few paragraphs, but here he goes. This guy seems right off the bat completely genuine. Hey, Dominic, you want to jump on the mic or what?
No, I'm good, dude.
I don't know what Dominic is doing over there. He's like shuffling around.
Is he like facing the corner, looking shady?
I know. What the fuck, dude? Like, and why is my lotion over there?
That's why he doesn't want the mic on.
He's not masturbating.
Sorry, Dominic. Wait, so will you go into that story a little more? She was
Which one?
The one where the lady started doing that in front of you.
Oh, you want me to go into that one?
In the jail? Or where was this?
Let me paint the picture for you. I was in the Robert Presley Detention Center. It was in Riverside County. The attorney-client room where you go to do your jail visits, you go up, I don't know what floor it is, I think it's the 3rd or the 4th floor, and you're there, and there's like this area you go into, and you're kind of locked in, and there's glass that separates you and your client.
Okay.
There's like a little slit underneath to transfer paperwork back and forth. And she proceeds to tell me about how she like banged this dude.
In prison?
In prison. A fellow inmate, I guess. Must have been. But then she just starts stripping off her clothes.
This is very Wentworth.
From the bottom down. Literally starts physically and unequivocally masturbating herself furiously to the point where it's like, there's not really any good options right now. Like I could like be accused of doing something by her. Yeah. I need to call the guards right now. You know, what the fuck is going on?
Press the panic button.
I want to explain. She was accused by the district attorney of malingering her symptoms of mental illness. So she was trying to argue that she was mentally competent while exhibiting these weird symptoms of mental incapacity. And to what point, and none of you guys are, I probably need Laura Knighty for this. At what point would you deem masturbating during the course of a jail visit with your attorney as a symptom of mental illness?
That's a good question.
I imagine you would need to look at it in context of all the records you have.
Yeah.
All of the variables, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what she was accused of was sex crimes. Specifically forcing sexual interactions with minors was the charges.
And so what did they do when you called them in?
Oh, well, yeah, they obviously ended the visit. And so they just got me out of there and they took her back into her cell or whatever they got to do. And at that point, her I never represented her ever again. The firm that I was working for, it wasn't my call, but the firm that I was working for, they couldn't afford representation. So she ended up getting substituted a public defender. I have no idea what happened to that lady. But it is by far the most salacious, weirdest story. And why did you want me to expound on that?
I just heard you like, hey, this happened to me one time, and I was like, whoa, what was that? Like, how did that happen? What was that?
Furious masturbation happened is what happened in the context.
And yeah,
of
I'm wondering like how you like what you thought what happened and what.
Think about it. Like, what if she like accused me of like trying to coerce her into masturbation or something? Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like try to accuse me of some kind of inappropriate sexual misconduct. And at that time,
how did you get out of there? Did you have to push a button or knock on a door?
Literally had to press a button. Yeah. So when they lock you in there was a button that you press that basically connects to a speaker where the correctional officer is there to respond to whatever. It's like, hey, there's a scenario occurring right now. Yeah. I don't even remember what I said.
Need assistance.
Yeah, but at that point, the jail visit ended. And what was more heartbreaking about the case, I had to talk to her dad. Her dad was like in his 80s. He was the one paying for her legal counsel. And I didn't know what to tell him at that point. It's like, yeah, I had a visit with her. I don't know how it's gonna go. Like the next hearing, I had to like try to not make up something to say. It was just like try to present it into a way that was the least offensive possible. I basically told him that there was an incident at the courthouse. I was there. She was subdued by prison guards or whatever. And I don't know how they subdued her. I don't know if they injected her with like medication, like circa like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, like she's in a mental hospital in the 70s, or if they just took her back to her cell. I literally don't know. But the logistics of that is you have a parent who has hired your law firm to represent her in court, and she's doing that thing. And you're supposed to try to find her mentally competent to stand trial to progress things. It's just this weird conundrum. Anyway.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, Brad, you on your walk or what?
This is my walking avatar, but
hell yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know why I said hell yeah. It's just like
that's good.
All right, let us continue. Hey, Bruce, you want to read where we left off?
Oh boy.
I think we're starting up as high school sweethearts.
Oh yeah, he's not high school sweethearts. Broke up because of college, both found serious relationships, both relationships ended. We found each other again completely by chance. Like almost literally bumped into each other in a public place. We got married a couple of years later. Serendipity. Am I right?
Serendipity.
Why do they have to do this preamble? I don't know. As life happened with the bills and mortgage and kids, it got a little rocky at times, but mutual love and respect got us through. Like this is a movie trailer. I will admit that I was probably not the best partner. Stress with the kids and my work was eating me alive. I wasn't very fun to be around at times, but she was very patient with me, and I'll always remember that. And with time came emotional maturity, and I was able to get out of that rut. I became a better father and husband. I'm a much better man today than I was in my 20s. Before I get to the problems, I do want to make it clear that I put my family before everything. I am there for them every day. I know, right? I don't have hobbies or other interests that keep me away from them. I don't drink or go out with the boys all the time. He's really litigating hard. I don't spend any money on myself because I'd rather my wife and kids have everything they need. I cook for them. I clean, do laundry, take care of the outside work. I dote on my wife. She loves coffee in bed, so I make sure she gets a fresh cup every morning. Before I go to work, wow, can I marry this guy? She loves coffee in bed, so I make sure. Yeah, okay.
Can I ask a question? I have a question for Schnitzel is the only lady left on my panel.
If you could call me that.
If your husband was doing all of that shit, would it get annoying or would you dig it?
Probably annoying.
It's like, could I just get my own coffee every now and then? Jesus. I'm not fucking Cinderella over here.
Although I do ask, I am the kind who will like be on the couch with a blanket and be like, could you get me a water, please? If he's out in the kitchen already. You know?
But that is different.
That's just being
it being like a coming to America situation. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
No.
Schnitzel. Jesus. Okay.
Kids today.
I'll get it on my server.
Eddie Murphy. This is 1988 when Eddie Murphy was at the peak of his powers.
Who's Eddie Murphy?
Get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm kidding.
The movie starts. He is the king of Zamunda. They awaken him with like an orchestra, right? Like literal musician, instruments, whatever. He takes a royal bath every morning as part of his royal routine. He can't brush his own teeth. He has servants that cleanse him and his nether regions every morning. He's not allowed to wash himself every day. He's not asked for this. This is just my nature of his position as the prince of Zamunda.
Okay.
At what point would that get annoying is my question. And I feel like you sort of kind of answered it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's taking away your choice and your freedom, you know, at a certain point.
Like sometimes I want to just bathe by myself. Like I don't need you like right there to like scrub the royal balls or whatever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or the royal genitals or whatever. Bruce, do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I have.
Yes, sir.
Autonomy, privacy.
Yeah, it's a thing. It is a human need. The human condition requires a measure of autonomy. Some require it more than others.
I require a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say I have an extreme need for a level of autonomy that goes well beyond anything else. Anyway, to this degree, we get here. Where did I leave off? Okay, so before I get to the problems,
he was going through all the. And we did that paragraph basically. This is him wanting a cookie.
Oh yeah, he wants
down
a
here.
medal.
I'm not looking for applause. Well,
right,
sir,
but he is looking for applause.
I just want to make it clear I'm not very involved in I'm a very involved in selfless husband. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
On to the issues.
On to the issues. Do it, Bruce.
We are currently in a vicious cycle of blame and resentment that I don't see us being able to resolve. Oh my, that escalated quickly. I feel that she shows almost zero interest in me. I feel invisible in the house. I feel like I'm nothing more than a paycheck and a roommate that takes mutual care of the children and household.
This is a genuine question. I have this question. Schnitzel, you're the only lady here remaining on the panel.
Mm-hmm. I made it.
Survival of the fittest. I don't know, man. Okay. This guy says he feels invisible. He's doing all this stuff for his wife. Could you explain to me a guy like this that is like going above and beyond every single day involuntarily? He thinks it's his duty to treat you like Cinderella, Disney princess, make sure that he has everything in check, make sure that all your needs are met. I'm not even talking about sexually. I'm just talking about he brings your shoes to you. He like dresses you or tries to dress you. He makes sure that everything is clean. He makes sure that whatever. At what point does that get annoying and unnatural?
That's a tough question, I guess. I mean, are you a person who appreciates that and wants that in a partner? And does he genuinely want to be doing it?
As a guy, I would be annoyed I would be annoyed as fuck.
I don't think that's the problem here, based on the next paragraph.
Do it, Bruce. As always, the voice of reason. Let's do
it. Scroll up a little bit. I think we missed something, maybe.
Onto
the issues. They're in the vicious cycle. I feel she shows zero interest in me. I feel invisible. She shows very little concern for anything going on in my life. It wasn't always this way, just the past year or so. Her side is that I'm not emotionally available to her. When she needs to vent or discuss her issues, I'm not a good listener and I act like I'm judging her or I don't really want to hear it. The truth is she is right. But let me explain. My wife has anxiety and depression. She's on meds and was seeing a therapist last year, but has since stopped doing that. She has some good days, but mostly bad. The kicker here is she has been trauma dumping on me every day for 15 years. That is not an exaggeration. Every day for 15 years. There is literally something wrong with her every day, from physical ailments to emotional to mental. I've heard it for 15 years. I'm tired. I feel like I've got a heart of stone because I can't bring myself to care about her problems anymore. I feel guilty, but I can't help it. So the vicious cycle. She says she's emotionally detached, and that's why she shows little interest in me. And I say I act the way I do because I am tired of the drama and trauma. We're at an impasse.
I love her, but I'm unhappy. I've been for a while, and I don't see that changing. I'm only getting older, and the only selfish thought throughout our entire relationship is, I deserve to be happy. But divorce? What if I regret it and have to live with that forever? What about my kids? I grew up in a broken home and had a dad that wasn't in my life and promised myself I would never divorce like my parents did. That's all we've got. I'll be happy to provide more details vast. Also, for what it's worth, we tried marriage counseling last year, 3 sessions. My wife is traumatized by it and isn't interested in going that route again.
My question would be, has he been open with her and said, you have been dumping this trauma on me for the last 15 years, and it's too much for me, and I can't really handle that anymore?
Bruce, so then I'm not speaking for all men. I want you to tell me if I'm off base when I say this. But most men are trained to not communicate those deficiencies with what they perceive as going wrong, not communicate their emotional needs, not communicate their psychological needs. It's
Yeah.
are you
I
dead?
mean,
You're not
I think
dead.
you're right because he's explaining this here in Reddit, but this
Yeah.
is like after 15 years. So
Right.
it's probably taken him a long time to figure out this is the problem.
That it might even be a problem. Like, because
Yeah.
before that, it was like
Or how to describe it with English language.
yeah, because prior to that, I'm sure that his instinct was to try to solve it.
He needs to be in therapy himself, I think, to figure out how he truly feels about this, who he is, what he needs and wants out of life, out of a partner, if he so chooses to have one, and
I can tell
decide
you,
if this person's right for that.
I can tell you this. I've literally had conversations where it's like, I can't tell you all the things that I'm feeling because I feel like if I do, then somehow it's like breaking some kind of a code that men are not supposed to share their feelings with their spouse, because when they do, they're penalized because they're no longer like this structure of fortitude. They've now become compromised by emotion. And as illogical as that is to say, I have to say, man, there are so many men, young men, that are being taught that through toxic masculinity or otherwise, that they are not allowed to vent their emotions or their emotional conundrums to their partner, because the second that they do, they're no longer their protector and the provider. They're now liability and expendable. So many men have that viewpoint. I was raised with that.
It may not even be a viewpoint. Like men, I think, are sort of hardwired to try to be problem solvers.
Yeah,
So if
exactly.
you have these relationship problems or emotional problems, your goal is to solve it, not talk about it.
Right.
So you don't want to give a status report or, declare victory until you've solved it. Do you know what I mean?
I
That's
beg for it all
100%
the
true.
time.
Yeah.
For the communication, like, I can tell you're feeling a certain way, let's talk about it. Or he might have not even realized he's being different or acting a certain way, and I'm like, why don't you think about it? Because I can tell. So that it's just like he's willing to talk about it, but not like upfront about it. And I need that. I always say it's like trying to put a puzzle together in the dark, and sometimes you get flashes of lights to find a couple pieces to put in, but there's never that constant light for you to be able to figure the whole thing out.
So let me put you in this young lady's shoes. This guy's basically saying that, look, for 15 years, he's tried to be like the all-supporting, perfect husband, right? He said that. And he's sick and tired of his wife trauma dumping on him every single chance he gets. That's basically what he's saying. So what if this was your husband and he says to you, fuck, could you just like get it together? Because God damn it, you're stressing me out. I can't take this shit. Every time I come home, it's like there's like this immediate emergency that I have to tend to. There's this immediate crisis that I need to tend to. And it's always dealing with your emotional problems. What about like, fuck, I'm like stressed out about this. I can't deal with this all the time. What if he says that to you? What would you say to him?
I'd say don't be such a bitch, first of all. Like, present it in a respectful way, because presenting like that's going to cause an argument, most likely.
Could you just not be such a cunt about it? Like, Jesus Christ, could you grow up here? What the fuck?
But I would probably feel embarrassed if I knew that like getting down to it. Oh, how long have you feel this way? Oh my God, I can't believe, why didn't you tell me? Well, I'm telling you now. Okay, how long have you felt this way? 15 years. What? 15 years? And you haven't told me? Well, I'm just figuring it out. I would feel embarrassed personally that, like, wow, like someone I thought that I was, was okay with this. Now I find out they aren't. And I feel embarrassed that I thought, you have, what do they say, pie on your face kind of thing.
You got eggs on your face, son.
Yeah.
You got eggs on your face.
Yeah,
This makes
lots
people
of
get
eggs.
defensive.
15 years worth of eggs on my face. Yeah, and so I mean, I think she sounds like she needs friends. She needs maybe a support group, other people she can vent to, so her husband doesn't have to be responsible for all of it all the time.
It is amazing that you said that, Schnitzel. It is amazing that you said that.
Why?
The thing that you led with was stop being a bitch, you know? And then you like proceeded with like this argument. And so like men know that. Men know that. Men know that. Men know that if they express their emotions, if they express their frustrations to their spouse, that they're going to be labeled as a bitch.
No, it depends on how you, if you say, no, I just can't take it anymore. You've been doing this to me for 15, or if they say, hey,
You're right.
there's something I need, if he presented it as, hey, there's something I need to talk with you about. It's taken me a long time to come to this realization.
And I
had
know
feelings about it. And yeah, and in a respectful way, like person to person, like how, like, but if it's that heightened emotion and energy, yeah, I'd be like, chill out. Let's have an adult conversation about this. So you don't need to yell at me.
Hey, Bruce, I'm going to ask you this question.
Yeah.
These are real thoughts that I had as a boy, right? I think this is the problem. This is one of the problems with men. By the way, we have somebody that's on hold that they called in on the line. We're going to get you in. I just want to share this before I lose my thought.
Yeah. Just one of the problems with men.
Yeah, one of the problems with men is that we are not allowed. Men have never been allowed in the context of a healthy relationship to confess their genuine feelings to their partner, because either their dad or their brothers or whatever males in their life or females in their life would have labeled them as a bitch. As a young man, how do you reconcile that? As the proprietor of trying to be the leader of the relationship, or trying to lead in a very male traditional way the relationship, and trying to be the emotional support system of your spouse while trying to deal with your own feelings as a human being. It is a symptom of toxic masculinity that you're taught that as a young man. And as a young man, I really mean like 5, 6, 7 years old.
I want to say that with my son who's 4, I always ask him, how are you feeling? What feelings are you having right now? You're frustrated. Why are you frustrated?
And that's excellent.
And because and at school they say like, oh, he's always talking about his feelings. And like they're impressed. He's aware of even like being able to describe whatever he is feeling. So I don't want to just like, I don't think that, I just want to say, I don't think any guy like expressing his feelings is a bitch. I don't think that at all. I think men should be encouraged to talk about their feelings. It's just though, if a woman came to me and said that, I would say she was being a bitch. It's that it's the way the approach is. If it's in an adult respectful way, 100% not a bitch. But if it's like, I can't take it anymore, this has been happening, then I'm like, whoa, okay, like that from anybody, regardless.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, I 100% agree.
And it doesn't even have to be that extreme. Tone can make people defensive, even when you're not trying to have that tone.
Yeah. I can tell you this. I fully acknowledge that I grew up in a toxically masculine house. And look, it was easier for me than my siblings. My siblings were full on gay, and they had to grow up in this toxically masculine environment and try to find a way to survive. But I remember having feelings and thoughts as like a 13, 14-year-old when I would hear like love songs. It's like, why are they talking about their feelings like that? That's so gay. I legit remember having feelings like that, thoughts like that, because like that's so soft. That is so soft. And when you raise a 13, 14-year-old like that, and they grow up and they become an adult that's that way, they 100% fundamentally learn to disregard their feelings because they don't matter, because they're either gay or bitch made, like you said. And they develop all of these social insecurities that turn into domestic violence, lack of empathy with your wife or your daughters, lack of emotional intelligence in life, because you could never feel sad for somebody because that's fucking gay. As ridiculous as that sounds, in the 90s, if you were growing up in a toxically masculine household, that was kind of just what was pushed upon you. And any acknowledgement of your emotional conundrums as a youth, as an 8 or 9-year-old, as an 11 or 12-year-old, as a teenager, were dismissed as your tendency towards homosexuality.
Or you're a musician.
Or you're a musician. or in the band, right? Or in band in band camp. And so we have a whole generation of young men that have grown up that way, that have been taught that you shall suppress your genuine emotional feelings, because failure to do that will result in society deeming you as less of a man. And for a group of well-meaning young men that desire to be men, adhering to that message is catastrophic, because they're going to have to find out later in life that that's not what being a man is all about. Who's going to teach it to them if nobody is teaching it to them? Mm-hmm. That is the environment that young men grow up in. And look, I've never had a boy. I'm 100% girl dad. I don't have boys, but for the men that are in my life, I try to impart this idea that, look, your emotional feelings that are authentic are valid, because most young boys don't know that. Mm-hmm. They genuinely don't know it. And they're trying to like raise families under those misconceptions. What do you expect is going to happen? Yeah. I don't know. What do you got to say about all that, Bruce?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a rule across the board, but I think there's generally tendencies in that direction.
I can only speak from I do not speak for all men. I can only speak from growing up in my Hispanic household, being raised by my mom and my toxically masculine dad. Those were the values that were imparted upon me. Mm-hmm. I had to learn much later in life that it was safe to acknowledge that I had emotional feelings, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to people where, they might have older relatives and things like that, where, for example, physical ailments, being sick or having an injury are very serious things to deal with. But emotional problems are not in the same category, right?
No, you get over that shit. Get over that shit or you're a bitch. Straight up. Those are the options. Those are the options. Those young men that have been raised into those circumstances are wounded. And they are doomed to scenarios just like this. Where he's trying to reconcile his feelings of emotion with no outlet whatsoever. And then he tries to represent them to his wife. And they're dismissed as less than masculine. Maybe not purposely. Maybe by circumstance. But that's what he feels. Rob asks, I know this is a serious topic right now, but I'm just crying the whole time while you're talking. Oh, Rob, don't cry on account of me, man. I'm giving you a big hug over here.
I think he's giving you a hard time.
Yeah, maybe he's giving me a hard time. Bro hugs over here. My brother says, at Angel, thank you. I'm already excited to see her. The fuck? Oh, my brother's getting married this weekend, by the way.
Ooh.
Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. Hey, Rob says, hey, Omar, have you thought about being a big brother? It's an awesome experience. Rob, I am already a big brother. It's my little brother, Miguel, who's about to get married, who I've been counseling since he was a young pup.
Yeah. And now you have me and Brad too, so.
Yeah, everybody's a big brother over here, Look, this is not a toxic masculine environment. If you got If you want to cry, then fucking cry, man. Nobody's going to be insulting your genitals as a result or excoriating them for any reason. Stephanie B says, I think this generation luckily is learning from those mistakes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is cyclical. If you grew up as a Generation X, you grew up with that toxic masculinity. And I think that even millennials were subject to it. And then it started to turn. I don't know. When would you say it started to turn, Bruce? 2000s or so?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've talked to a lot of millennials who are a little bit more, I don't know what the word is. Maybe more emotional intelligence compared to Gen X.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
Yeah. Luckily,
it's like a slow change, you know.
Luckily, emotional intelligence is a trait that is inherent in young men, regardless of how they grew up. And so, if your instinct is to fundamentally think that the way that you're thinking is wrong, you should probably listen to yourself and explore that a little bit further. Because look, I think there's far too many men out there that are afraid of their emotions. And you know what it affects? It affects when you have a family. Let's just say you got a wife. Let's just say you got a bunch of daughters. And they need you to be emotionally available. You might have been taught that your act of being emotionally receptive to their emotional needs is gay. As stupid as this sounds, there's a whole generation of men that were taught that. And there's a whole generation of women that are suffering because of that. Because they don't have dads that know how to differentiate between genuine masculinity and toxic masculinity. As simplistic as it sounds, I don't have the time to go into all of it, but that's basically what it is. There's a whole host of men out there, generation of men out there that believe that if they were to give in to their emotions, it's fucking gay. And
that's
how do you
sad.
expect them to navigate their wives or their daughters thinking that, you know?
Yeah.
It would take an act of courage on their part to rise above that method of thinking and to subscribe to something that's a little more intellectually accurate. Mm-hmm. And they might be opposed at all sides by their mothers and their fathers.
Yeah.
Not to get too deep into it, man, but that's what the fuck are we even talking about right now? We began this talking about this guy.
Should this guy get a divorce?
Should he get a divorce because of all these things? He
doesn't know how to deal with the trauma dumping.
Yeah, the trauma dumping. I get to problems. I do want to make it clear. This is the guy that wanted the medal, right?
Yeah, we got to the end.
Did we get to the end? Jesus. Mm-hmm. He says, for whatever we tried marriage counseling, 3 sessions with my wife. Look. If you truly want to be a rock for your wife that has the need to trauma dump, that's going to require a step above what you might have been taught and might require an additional level of emotional intelligence that you might not have access to.
I also don't think that the partner should be the sole bearer of those emotions. I think.
Yeah, because that sucks, you know? Imagine that.
It's not fair because they have their own stuff they're dealing with. So you can't expect a partner to... Hi. Sorry, I'm going to take a pause.
Yeah, the guy in the situation may have been slow to figure all of this out because of all the things you've been talking about.
Yeah.
But I think, and obviously he's writing this post, we don't know her perspective or if she would agree with all this or what, but you know, a relationship, it goes both ways, right? Like, what are her responsibilities in all this too? I feel
That's
like
right.
they have this gap, this communication gap, and for whatever reason, whether it's toxic masculinity, whether it's her, you know, issues, physical or mental, they've gotten to this point where it's built up too much.
Yeah.
And you know, that's why he is overflowing, and he's overflowing into Reddit. Which, of course, is maybe never the best thing to do, but that's where he is.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, what I would say is this, is that it is an incredibly difficult thing as a partner in a marriage, man or woman, to sit there and have your partner constantly dump their shit on your shoulders. If you're a wife and you have your husband constantly talking about how shitty his life is and how he feels this and that, and it's every single day, and it's for months on end and years on end, at some point there's a breaking point where it's like, why don't you fucking grow a pair? What do you want me to do? Life sucks. Like, we're in this family. Are you in or are you out? At some point, that becomes a question, regardless of gender. Mm-hmm. This guy's in a position where he's been constantly trauma dumped by his wife for a period of years, and he's sick of it. And he hasn't probably dealt with his internal feelings as a man of how he's been emotionally affected by everything that's going on. Is that me or you, Dominic?
Do we have a call?
Oh, let us bring in the caller. What did they got to say? God damn it. Oh, next time we have a caller, just put them through. Just put them through.
Oh, yeah.
Or let me know that they're there. But we will put them through and give them their, let them have their take. Anyway, for this guy, his question is, whether or not I guess he should get a divorce. Says, I love her, but I'm not happy.
Oh, boy.
Is there any way to salvage this marriage through genuine communication? Maybe not so much therapy, just talking to each other. Do you think that would be the move? What do you think, Schnitzel?
Just a second, I got my kid.
I will Don't be worry right about back. It.
This one is tough. I don't know.
What's up, Mom? The tilted mom is on the stage. What's she doing over there? The hell did you do to your hair?
It's the same as before. What do you mean?
Bullshit. You've been coloring your hair. What did you do that for?
No, it's just the sun is coming through my back.
Like hell it is. What you got to say, Mom?
In my opinion, I think the guy is exhausted of being dumped on and he wants to move on. So let him move on. He doesn't need to be ashamed about it. Let him move on. He's done everything he can do to take care of her up to this point. He said make her coffee every single morning, he takes care of the kids. She doesn't work. What is she contributing to the family? It doesn't sound like much.
Well, let me ask you the reverse. Let's just say this not, fuck it, move on. This lady is a bit much. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go be single and whiskey and whores in Mexico or whatever. Or wherever he wants to move. Let's just say
quickly.
Well, maybe he may want to do that. I mean, he may want to do that. I mean, he may, that's only going to last for so long for his happiness. But
by the way, I want you guys to get a feel for, what's harsh or not. My mom literally called me simple-minded retarded because I was voting for Kamala. You're just a simple-minded retard because you're voting for President Trump. You just don't like him because he grabs people by the pussy. So who the fuck said that?
Oh, boy.
I did not say that. You were lying.
You pretty much said that.
I never said that. That's what you were thinking in your head.
That's exactly what I thought in my head. It made me laugh.
I did say you were, I didn't say you were simple-minded. I said, don't be simple-minded.
I read between the lines. My mom should know by now that I'm anything but simple-minded. I had offered my reasonings for everything, and she's like, yeah, you just don't like him because he grabbed people by the pussy. All right.
I never said that. Oh, that's not true. Please don't believe him.
So let me just say this. What if he's like, maybe he doesn't want to move on like that. Maybe he just wants to trauma dump on her. It's like, you know what? For 15 years, you've been doing this shit to me and dumping all this stuff on me. I can't fix everything. How do you think it makes me feel? Like, what if I'm like not just exhausted by you and all of your trauma and all this stuff? Look, I'm here to support you. But when you tell me stuff like that, it makes me think all of these different things. What say you to that? What if he tried something like that? If he did that to you as a woman, what would you think?
Well, I mean, it all depends upon what age you are.
Let's just say he's 45.
Okay, if you're both in your 40s, I feel at that point you should be both old enough, know who you are in life to understand that, as you've said in different podcasts, sometimes you're giving 80% and the other person is giving 20. That's what marriage is about.
Right.
It sucks when you're given the 80 and you keep feeling like you're given the 80 and not getting anything back. But I mean, if you're if you're in the marriage for multiple reasons, not just for what you're getting, like, you have your family, you have a legacy, and there's many reasons, because time moves,
No, we know that better than anybody, don't you? You used to be 16 years old, man. You used to be like a little teenager. Jesus Christ. I saw pictures of you with me as a baby. Like, who the F is this kid, man?
Yeah.
Oh, that's your mom. Jesus Christ.
Yes, I was a little girl.
Hell?
Many, many chapters of my life. So, I just feel like this guy, if he doesn't know what to do, the best thing to do is just to take a step back. And then
let me ask you a question. Let's just say that this guy, let's just say that the guy's your husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just gives you, I'm sick and tired of you giving this shit to me. You know what? I'm sick and tired of you giving me all your problems. All you do is complain. All you do is talk shit about everything. Maybe you could grow a pair and just not be so sensitive all the time. And he starts coming to you like that. What if he came at you like that? What would you say to him? I already know what you would say, but I want you to say it.
If it was me, it would be completely different. I mean, we're talking about this lady.
It's like, bitch, I will cut you.
Right? You think you can come at me with that attitude?
I remember last year I made you dinner. Say nothing. No.
Oh boy.
We're talking about this lady. I mean, in my opinion, this guy needs to take a step back
and communicate with her how he's feeling.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
I feel like he's taken a step back for 15 years.
Well, actually, this has been his everyday life that it seems that he was okay with. I mean, because if you're not okay, you're not going to wake up every single day for 15 years and keep
bullshit
doing the
to
same thing over and
okay.
over.
Right? I'm going to cut you off, Mom.
You'll show you will see that you're just in everyday, your demeanor, that you're miserable, right?
What if
that coffee's going to be like, here's your coffee, right? It's not going to be here, honey. It's not going to be that way.
well, let me ask you this. What if it came to this scenario where this guy has been raised to disregard his emotional feelings? Because it's fucking gay to do that. That's not what men do. And then he communicates that to you. And he has a traumatic response to your inability to connect with him. And maybe it's just a symptom of being raised in an older gender that didn't appreciate men's emotional capacity to feel things.
In my opinion with this, I don't know that this has anything to do with masculinity. It may have something to do with, maybe he grew up in a family where divorce was not in question. You just don't do that. And he decided that this is what I have to live with.
I think that could explain the duration, right? Of how long this took. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't explain where he is now, where he says, I am unhappy.
Yeah.
Right,
what do I do next?
Yeah, right now he's just he may be saying forget what, how I was brought up, and, my parents have been living together and they're married for 50 or 60 years. And so are my aunts and uncles. And I'm just not happy. I made the wrong decision and I need to look at that. Maybe that's where he's at.
I just want to reveal that that's not my mom's true hair color.
What are you talking about?
She colored that shit. What the fuck is that, Mom? I know me see the S word.
Omar, we did this what was it, a week or two ago? The correct answer is your hair looks very beautiful today.
Exactly.
Thank you for being on the show.
I'm not here to hit on my mom. I'm here to get facts.
You're not hitting on anyone. Oh my
I might
God.
be autistic, and so I say what I say what I feel.
I have not.
I want to see that blog, Omar.
I have not lightened my hair.
My mom has told me
I do my touch up every 3 weeks, but I have not lightened my hair.
she's never lightened her hair. This told her natural hair color. Bullshit.
That's not
Look
true.
at my hair.
I have not lightened my hair recently. It's been at
What should
least
the
3
title
months.
of Omar's medium blog be, Schnitzel? The unbearable, unveiling the unbearable something. What?
Unveiling the autistic Asperger's tilted lawyer, whatever.
Toxic masculinity.
I was raised in the most toxically masculine of environments. I gotta say.
And this explains why you beat people up in salsa clubs.
Or why you
Instead of faking
or you're
pregnancy,
grinding on them.
instead of faking pregnancy, you're out
I
there.
will grind
beating
on your
up
ass.
Yeah, in the salsa club. Oh my God.
To assert my masculinity.
It's all making sense now.
Hey, Rob says, hey, I have to agree. Teresa, there isn't a rush. I don't know who Teresa is. Oh, this is the comment I wanted. Tilted mom. He said mom. He meant mom. When we get the border under control and the elderly are taken care of, he knows he voted for Trump. And other things in a positive manner. I think you might see that President-elect Trump will do the right thing. He just fucking elected Matt Gaetz for a cabinet position. I'm terrified of that.
I think Trump will do none of the right things, and I think I'm fearful for the country's future.
I'm rooting for Trump. I'm not optimistic. I gotta say. I'm in a position to endure these next 4 years, hoping for the best. Yeah. I'm hoping for the best. I hope you're right, Mom. Jesus.
I'm just trying to do my yard work and I get sued by certain internet lawyers.
He can't do shit about fuck.
He can't do dick about fuck.
Oh boy.
Sarah Dawn says, I think it would be fair to just say, I'm not a therapist and I can't handle the trauma dumping. Can you get a therapist to help you work through things or else I want to leave? In other words, I can't deal with this shit. Could you just fucking get a guy?
Define some boundaries.
Yeah, look, I feel like trauma dumping is a thing that probably happens in a lot of marriages. And I think that people develop in these echo chambers, these trauma dumps, if they're not accepted by their spouse. They become echo chambers. They become grounds for permission to do just about anything. Commit acts of adultery, step out on the marriage, end the marriage, whatever. If you don't have a competing partner to rationalize your unkempt thoughts, then that's what they become. And the danger in not dealing with it, look, I understand that trauma needs to be dumped somewhere. But at some point, got to tell the person that's trying to dump the trauma, at some point you got to grow a pair. Let me give you an example. Okay, my daughter, my 4-year-old, my youngest, Evelyn, the way that she communicates her trauma is to cry. Right? If she gets scraped on the knee, if her daughter takes her Lego, if her tablet runs out of batteries, it's like this whiny crying voice, right? At some point she has to learn that not everything is a crying moment. You know, at some point you have to accept and endure and adjust.
But you also have to learn that emotional intelligence. It's not going to be always going to be just innate, especially for a young kid.
Yeah,
so and give them tools.
It's a balancing act, I think, because I looked up emotional intelligence on Wikipedia, and one of the 3 main, table legs of it is you can't let emotions stop you from living your life or doing the things you want to do, or like it can't disable you.
Yeah.
So there's a balancing act. You can't go too far one way or the other.
I agree with that. And so it is this balancing act. And that's why it's so beneficial for children to have like both the mom and the dad, because they'll be like, hey, Abby, why don't you grow a pair? And then like the mom will be like, oh, did you hurt your knee? Let me rub it with the ointment or whatever. Let me put like this disinfectant. Oh, did your sister make you mad? Well, there's the whole emotional intelligence thing. you got to have both sides of that. Otherwise, you become
Or both
skewed.
parents can have both sides. It doesn't have to be
exactly.
I don't have both sides. I wasn't raised by both sides. Mom, whenever I got a scraped knee, she's like, "Why don't you stop being a bitch and keep on? Come on."
That's not true. That's not true. I mean, let's kids are they're born, they're babies. They cry to get what they learn that if they cry, they're going to get what they want. And it's up to the parents to go ahead and train them that you don't have to cry, and you teach them to speak, to let them express their feelings.
You have to teach them that in the first place, so they have other tools other than crying. Because if all they know is to cry, I don't think it's necessarily always manipulative. It's just that's the only tool they have to communicate.
Well, it is.
They don't know how to explain.
Right. And then things, a man has to have the patience to let that play out.
Right.
And they have to have the wherewithal to be able to differentiate between the need to masculinize versus empathizing with pain and other things. And you know what? It's a hard balance.
And when you think about it, it's a very fine line, because a lot of parents will go ahead and right away, like, no, don't cry. It's okay. You don't have to cry. And then you train the kid not to really show emotion.
Yeah.
And therefore the tears don't come out, and they suppress their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you do that, you end up with a guy like me. Then if you do it too much, you end up with a gay.
You're so bad.
No.
That is not true.
That's what happened. That's what happened. I don't know what to tell you.
I think
actually, you're the one that cried the most.
What? I was the what? What was I the most?
You were the one that cried the most.
Well, that may or may not have been true, but I learned my lesson. There's no crying in this world. All right, let us do one more hypothetical before we end. It's a pleasure to have my mom. She's been wanting to do Family Law After Dark for a long time. It's like, Mom, I can't have you on the show because we talk about sensitive things. And she's like, bullshit.
I've never heard.
How dare you invite your dad and not invite me? It's like, well, he's a guy.
I was worried because apparently it is full moon flat. I thought things might get a little spicy.
Ooh.
Is tonight a full moon or something? Like, who's saying that? Like, why is that a thing?
Can I share like a funny, stupid story?
Obviously, you can.
So my mom, she didn't do this all the time, but it was like one time she was like, oh, if you get this growing up, if you get naked and you go outside with an empty purse and say, Mr. Moon, fill me up, you're supposed to, like you get rich. So she was joking with us. She's like, I'm going to do it on the next full moon. So she did. She went outside naked with an empty purse and she did her thing. And I, of course, locked her out of the house.
Oh, no.
Who wouldn't? What kid wouldn't do that? I just feel like, anyway, I did. And so anyway, when I hear full moon, this is the story that always comes to mind.
Could I just tell you a story? I'm going to tell you a story.
What happened?
No, she didn't.
By the way, my brother says, thanks you for the $2, bro. He says, I've been trying to get on the show too. It's like, hey, dipshit, there's literally a number to call. You can just call in. You bothering me for? To that point, I literally locked my brother out of the house once. I just locked him out. I pantsed him, and so he was in his underwear. And I locked him out the house.
Better than being naked with a purse.
His response to that was, he literally he picked up a rock and threw it through my mom's master bedroom. I saw
the big window.
Oh my god!
Glass ever. I was like, holy shit! What did you do?
If you're gonna break a window, break like a basement window, the smallest window you can find that'll do.
He broke my mom's master bedroom, man, and so then it was like, let's just go to sleep. If we go to sleep and she comes home, then we can't get a whooping. This was like what we did.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you guys became best friends and said, let's just go to sleep. Let's go to bed.
I don't know what happened, Mom. We were just like sitting in the living room watching TV and there was like aliens and the window broke.
It's just really bad golf players.
What did you tell her?
That's exactly what we told her.
You told her aliens did it?
It was the alien story. We were sitting here. I didn't know how the fucking window broke. It just broke.
This is a bad cover story.
Oh my god.
Goddamn, with them alien, them black holes, I tell you. 4 dimensions and all.
Men in Black. Oh boy.
Oh my god. Did you get in a lot of trouble?
We might have been abducted. They try to they try to extract our sex organs to make alien hybrids. I don't know, Mom. It's not my fault. It worked because we didn't get a whooping because when we got home we were literally asleep. It was like we had no other response. Fuck it, go to sleep. All right. We fell asleep.
Oh my god.
There was no other way out of it, man.
Insane.
Anyway.
And I don't think I even I was aware of the real story until like a few years later. Right?
Oh, you could have pieced it together with just some basic detective work. Obviously, I locked him out of the house. He wasn't locking me out of the house. And he got pissed off and he threw like a gay tantrum and then threw a brick through the window. And it's like, come on, man. That wasn't that hard to piece together.
I assume you didn't buy the alien story.
No. They were asleep in bed. That's all that mattered.
Oh, yeah, we were asleep. It saved us a whooping for sure. All right, let me share this last Mom, you're going to join us on this last one.
Okay.
And we'll see how this one. I have no idea what this is about. Let's. Okay. This guy, cheating husband insists on a lawyer to file divorce paperwork, but says I don't need one, and to just sign. Yeah,
No.
obviously, it's a bad idea.
Get a lawyer.
You don't have to be a lawyer to deduce. All right, so this guy, dated for 5 to 6 years, married for 3, so short-term marriage. Found out on Christmas Eve, 2023, that he had been cheating on me, and he had a girlfriend. Pulled it together for Christmas Day, and got his passed out behind of bed, pretended things were normal for the sake of family, kids. He apologized and cried that night and asked for me to stay and we could try to work things out. I was in shock. About a week into trying to work on things, he would no longer meet my eyes, was aggressive in his tone and stance, and I just knew he wasn't ending things. I literally asked, "Are you still in contact with her?" And his direct quote was, "No, it doesn't work that way." What did she think he was going to say? Like, what benefit did she think she was going to get out of that question? Anyway, tried a million ways since I did love him, and we had literally spoken vows to each other in front of our daughters, sons, families, and friends. Witness our marriage. 8 days before Valentine's Day, he comes downstairs, tells me it's over. He literally and physically packs most of my belongings into a car and tells me, "You and the dogs can go. You and the dogs can go," and sends me on my way. We had a home. Rude. We had a home in another state, and the place we both were at, I was in complete and utter shock and devastation. I literally did anything and everything he asked of me and more. So she wants a medal this time, Bruce. 1 week sitting over by myself at the house in another state, he kept asking me if the house was listed for sale yet. He didn't want to get caught in some downturn in the economy and I should list the house. So I did. I was in this state all alone and thought it would be best to sell and go back to my home state near family and friends. I had the house sold in 7 days, packed up all my belongings, paid to have them all moved into storage back into my home, and started looking for anywhere to live. So still in shock, floated around with the dogs, try to let him see them, but it was always me picking them up, dropping them off. So that stopped. Hey, Mom, what would you do if Jacob pulled some shit like that? After like, how long has it been? 15 years?
19. No, well, together 20.
Y'all are old, man. Jesus Christ.
True. There's a lot of things to say there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me continue. So I paid bills, storage, our Spotify plan, health insurance, car insurance, taxes.
I just want to say I love Spotify was thrown in there.
Yeah.
I know. Are you a Spotify person?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
I hate Apple Music.
I introduced my daughters to Bohemian Rhapsody last night.
It's the fucking
wow.
best. It's the best. It's so
That's
good.
great.
I'm just a poor boy. Nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from it.
We're gonna have to have them sing that.
Oh, Oli totally will. She totally will. Anyway, so a ton of other unexpected. So I just try to keep on keeping on. Within 3 months, I had all the divorce paperwork written up and sent to him. We both had done this before without lawyers. In fact, I helped him divorce his first wife, who he is still friends with, and she is a saint. And I'm serious. She's a saint. Well, that's not a good foundation to start a relationship, is it? Anyway, he refused to sign and started talking about a lawyer, and I suggested we both just write out what we want, what is his, what is hers, and just do this ourselves. Without involving lawyers, we can get a mediator or a notary to sign off, etc. Crickets. 2 weeks ago, he says, okay, write up something, send it to me. I did and told him to review and make changes he wants. He lets me know. This morning at 4 a.m., he texts me, says he's having the lawyer write up paperwork and will have it sent to me. He will pay for the lawyer fees and filing fees. I just need a sign. And I said, if you're getting a lawyer involved, then I have to get representation as well. He goes off on me, calls me crazy, says I'm being juvenile and making things difficult. Could I just explain? If
right
anybody,
there, like,
if
that
anybody
makes me
tells
even want to
you,
get one even more.
just get the lawyer, man. It's not that expensive.
Yeah.
If anybody
Omar,
tells you, yeah.
Well, how do you feel about? To me, I feel like she should not have sold this house and moved and paid all these things.
Yeah.
They should have
Who did the
lawyered up,
money go to?
lawyer up before you sell any property.
100%.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
that the right move? Okay.
If the move is not selling the property and splitting the proceeds and it's something else,
Exactly.
like paying for community debts,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It's not how that works. Look, the goal in all 50 states in a divorce is to equitably divide the assets. Mm-hmm. Some states account for faults, others don't. Most of them don't. All I'm saying is, if you're doing anything other than splitting the proceeds in the sale of the community residence, you're doing it wrong. And you should 100% get a lawyer to evaluate whether or not you're doing the right thing. They'll tell you within 30 seconds whether or not you're getting the shaft. And if he's trying to convince you to sign paperwork outside of legal counsel, more often than not, you're the one that's getting the shaft 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, 100% fishy. Where'd I leave off? So he refused to sign, started talking about a lawyer. I suggested we both just write up what we want. What is his? What is hers? Just do this ourselves without involving lawyers. We can get a mediator or a notary to sign off. Crickets. I did read that part, didn't I? Literally, this man was not wanting his family to know just how awful he is and has refused to allow me any contact with any of his family. His father and stepmother, who we lived with, his children, who I saw at least 3 to 4 times a week, his ex and her fiance, everyone who was a part of my life for 9 years and who I was never allowed to say goodbye to, who I loved for and cared for, no contact, no goodbye. And I have adhered to his wishes. So I have no money at all. I'm paying astronomical rent, storage fees, and have all the dog expenses now. While he works, but has zero expenses, lives in his father's basement. His father who gives him $500 a month to just because? What are you going to do with $500? Hey, Dominic, if I give you $500 a month, what would you do with it?
Shit. Go out.
You fucking asshole.
I Domino's every night.
He should be investing it.
Whiskey and whores, obviously. Oh, $500.
Vanguard Fidelity Index Funds.
Exactly. By the way, the year is 2024. So I shouldn't desperately need to have a lawyer to review whatever they draw up. Because, no matter how simple. Because it's so simple. Why can't we just not do this ourselves? As we both have before. He knows I can't afford a lawyer. Here's the simple solution to your problems. You might be able to petition the court for him to pay for your attorney fees.
100%.
If he could pay for his own attorney, why couldn't he pay for yours? At least in California, family court is a court of equity. If one party comes to the table with an attorney and the other party is in pro per, and that other party requests the other party to pay for their attorney fees, more often than not, the court will grant their wishes. Just food for thought. Just food for thought. And so don't think just because you can't personally afford a lawyer that you can't ever afford a lawyer, is the point. The law favors equity, and you should just remember that. Anyway, so no money at all and paying astronomical rent, storage fees, expenses. Okay, if it's so simple, why can't we just do it ourselves? Am I the asshole for not wanting to just take his lawyer's paperwork and his word on blind faith? Look, if you want to do that because you value peace of mind, peace of situation, I'm not going to judge you for doing that. Just do not expect that what's going down in this judgment is an equitable division of assets. Yeah. It very likely favors him.
Right.
It is worth it for you to go get a free consultation from some random family attorney and at least know, if you're going to get the shaft, at least know that before you sign the paperwork.
Yeah. It's almost like, what is she trying to accomplish by just giving in? That there's nothing there to accomplish. She's already getting a divorce.
I've had clients like that. I got to tell you, like, look, I don't give a shit. I don't want alimony. I don't want child support. I don't want anything. I just want this to be done.
Yeah.
Okay. He wants to, and then he proposed to buy her for $20,000. If he wants to buy me out for $20,000 from the community residents, then fine. And then I said, okay, if you really want to do that, fine. But did you know that there's $400,000 of equity in the house and you're entitled to $200,000 of it? Do you still want to take $20,000?
Right.
No. Okay. Then let's just make that demand. In other words, get an attorney that at least tells you how it's going to shake down.
And he's advocating for himself. She needs to advocate for herself. I think he sounds controlling. I think he sounds manipulative. And I think that she's just kind of rolled over so many times that he thinks he can be that way with her. And I think she needs to be that way, at least for the end of this, to advocate for herself.
Once people find out what they can get, they try to go get that. And that's what he's doing.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. It just, I guess, depends on the stage of separation. Like if they've been living together and she's just so sick of it, she just wants to be done with it. She's more apt, or he's more apt, to give in to a judgment that may or may not be equitable.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get them out of the house and it's like, hey, you're entitled to $200,000. Well, let's go get that $200,000. Fuck yeah, let's do it. And then we get an order forcing the sale of the house, dividing the proceeds, whatever we've got to do. But 100% of the time.
Wait, so they had two homes. She moved to the other home. So assuming he stayed in the original home, but now it says that, and they sold they sold the home she had moved into.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
which apparently
now,
they had less equity in.
And now she says he's living in his father's basement. So what happened to their original home?
Yeah, who knows?
I wonder.
That's a good question.
That's why I'm saying, before you do any real estate, you need to lawyer up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can tell the answer to that question. If he's living in his father's basement, nobody's living in that property, then you got to sell it right away because it has a market value. What's going to happen with the house? You're going to split the proceeds.
Mm-hmm.
And at least in California, the longer that you sit on that asset, somebody's going to be entitled to what they call reimbursements and credits. The fair rental value of the property. What if we were to just rent this out to some random family? And then because you don't want to sell it, now I'm having to pay all the bills. Well, I'm entitled to at least half of the fair rental value of that property.
Right.
And then you get into that whole litigation. You got to do all of that. It sucks.
This sounds like the house with what is it, Vanderpump Rules with the
Exactly. Exactly. And so look, it's in everybody's best interest to, as quickly as you can. He's going to live in the father's basement. Fine. You living with your mom or your sister? Great. Sell the property and split the proceeds so we don't have to litigate this any further. What are we doing?
Yeah.
This is an easy issue right here.
Get
There's
the
no
lawyer.
reason to fight about it. Yeah, get the lawyer. Look, there's exceptions if it's separate property or whatnot. Most of the time when people get married, they buy houses together. If it was purchased during the marriage, the only equitable outcome is a 1/2 division of the assets, unless there's a prenuptial agreement to the contrary. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Well, I really don't have a whole much more to say to this lady. What do you guys have to say?
Get the lawyer.
Get the
And
lawyer.
advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a call. Call my office. I'll walk you through it. Folks, we've been going for like 2.5 hours. I am like mentally drained. I've been podcasting now for like 5 hours straight. I've had to deal with David Gingras and Laura Owens and having to help out Laura Knighty and Dave Neal. And I'm tired, man. I'm tired. And I'm probably a couple of double Jameson Black Barrels in.
A couple of doubles. Quadruple in.
I quadruple my. A couple of. I'm probably 4 ounces of solid whiskey in.
4 ounces.
We can tell.
Exactly. Dicks.
Don't be a bitch, Omar.
Hey, I can hold my. You know what? Pour me another triple. I'm ready. Hey, Dominic, you down? He's not down. He needs to put Diet Coke into his. He's not.
You need
down.
to move the liquor cabinet, like it, because once my drink is done, it's done. Like I would have to go all the way to the kitchen to get another drink. So I'm just,
it's like,
why bother?
I mean, 10 yards, sir. I mean, it's like right over there.
I'd have to
Just
go up
put
a
it
flight
on.
of stairs. It's dangerous.
See, yeah.
Totally. Sarah Down says, can I ask, what exactly are people even getting married for anymore? That
Health
is a great
insurance.
question.
I mean, love.
It's not love. It's not love. It's not that. Could I posit a guess? In my estimation, having done this for 11 years, I think that the reason why people still get married is for no other reason other than legacy.
I don't give a shit about legacy.
Well, some people don't, but most people do. And well, why did you get married? Is a great question, I think.
Well,
If
I mean,
not
I
for
already
legacy.
had a 2-month-old kid when I decided to get married, but I mean, we got
obligation.
engaged. We got engaged 2 months before I had our baby, and I think we both just knew we wanted to spend our lives together. And I guess I don't know. It's always, I've seen it as a step above, dating. I guess we could have been partners. I'm not opposed to that, but I don't know if I could even say maybe it's just growing up, like you're supposed to get married at some point, but I always wanted to find that forever person to spend life with. And for me, I guess my brain was just like, that's marriage. Also, I mean, the health insurance isn't bad. All right?
So in some cases you get married for legacy. In other cases you get married for tradition. In other cases you get married for financial stability. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a combination of all three of those. Miguel says, I'm getting married because I love my wife, but also to build an empire. Miguel, you're so gay. I'm totally kidding. I was doing that on purpose because of the whole toxic masculinity thing. That's tremendous, Miguel. Good for you. I'm glad that you love your wife. That is the correct reason to get married.
Yeah, I think the thing is to think about what you want to get out of it. And if whatever the government is giving you or putting you into by signing a government contract, is that part of what you need or not? That's what people need to think about.
Well, here's the thing, man. The reason why the government got invested into marriage in the first place was because it was not beneficial to them to have a bunch of cast out older women by their more successful mates end up on the streets and make it unsightly for their governmental purposes. And so we created these laws of equity, designed for specifically for women. And then men wonder why is this so unfair? Like, why I got to give up half of my shit just because of her? Because people were assholes like 200 years ago. And we had to find ways to protect the weaker partner, which historically and traditionally has been the women. Is that changing? Is that dynamic changing? 100% it is, because those laws are not exclusive to women. They go to whoever is not the breadwinner in the couple. And so that's a deeper discussion that implicates policy decisions that have been made over the years. And so, look, marriage, there's a lot of reasons for it. And it sucks that you have to sign this contract that basically sets you up for your financial destruction if it doesn't work out. It sucks if that's the case. Let me just emphasize that you have the ability, and you should probably get a prenuptial agreement to undo all of those dangers. I can do it. I can make it like you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend, and you guys just want to break up. And when you guys get a divorce, it's actually just a breakup. And then your property that you brought into the marriage will remain your separate property. And you guys go both your separate ways. Nobody gets alimony. I can't do it with child support, but I can make it as fair as possible based on how you guys both view it when you guys are on good terms. That's called a prenuptial agreement. You guys should do that. Otherwise, you're going to feel burdened to remain in a relationship that you don't want to be in for the mere simple knowledge that you're going to have to be giving up half of your shit for no reason. And that's why most people avoid marriage nowadays. And their fears are well founded. I'm just saying that there's ways around it. What do you guys think about that?
I agree.
Yeah, I don't see anything against a prenup. I don't have one, but
I think it's definitely mandatory. Miguel, are you doing one?
Miguel's like, I don't got shit to divide anyways. Like, but you will, dipshit. He should probably have a prenup. And by the way, he hasn't come to me for a prenup, so I know for a fact he doesn't have one.
Uh-oh.
I will say I would be the one benefiting if I were to be divorced.
Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes that isn't the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a mixed bag, and you never know how things are going to turn up.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes
what if
you
I
marry
won the lottery?
plumber. Exactly. Sometimes you marry the janitor, and then they win the lottery. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
If you don't have a prenup, then
so lucrative.
Anyway, folks, it's been 2.5 hours. My voice is starting to go. Hey, Mom, thanks for coming on. And
yes, it was fun.
With your fake hair color and all.
I was you didn't stop.
Can you cuss him out in Spanish?
She can't because she's very Americanized. The reason I don't know Spanish is because she don't know Spanish. So
Correct.
Good luck with that.
and that says the one who sent me the link, just so you know.
Hey, Bruce, thanks for coming on and being the voice of reason. Schnitzel, thank you so much for coming in and contributing your female perspectives. It's always much appreciated. This is the normal panel for family law. Thank you for my guests who were here earlier and contributed their thoughts and opinions. Thank you to Priyanka. Thank you to Jocelyn. Melissa never made it in. What the fuck?
It's like she's got a job or something.
Oh, she's telling me she had to do discovery. Like, see what happens when you want to leave the Eagle law firm? See what happens?
Is it like near you or is it far away from your office?
She's like probably 45 minutes from me, 30 minutes from me.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's far enough where she moved away far enough where she had to get another job to make it be feasible. So that's what she did. But anyway, hey folks, I love you all. I wish you all a safe and happy weekend.
Good fight tonight.
Yeah, watch the fight tonight. It's going to be a once in a life. You might never see this again. Mike Tyson is in a professional fight. If you don't see it now, you might never see it ever. So, hey,
You know how it came about? Like how did it get set up?
do I know? Well, Jake Paul propositioned Mike Tyson because he thought that it would be profitable for him because he's fighting a 58-year-old man. And he thought, oh, I'm 27. Of course I gotta beat a 50-year-old man. That fucking 50-year-old man is Mike Tyson. So good luck with that. And you pissed him off something fierce. And he slapped the shit out of Jake Paul last night. And so I cannot wait for this fight to go down. I will be having a watch party, even if nobody comes over. We're watching the fight, man. We're not watching. If you can make the drive down, it's like what, a 12-hour drive or something.
You're not watching Frozen tonight.
A little too late. I think preliminary stuff's like basically already starting, or
yeah. Well, the fights, the undercard starts at 5, and so I'm gonna try to get home early and see what I could witness. But hey, folks, I love you all. I will see you guys next week.
All right.
Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.